This is a wild art drama that spans across about 2 weeks on Twitter between 3 different parties, with people commissioning each other. It's wild. Strap in, grab your popcorn, grab your tea, your boba, because this one is a long one. So from where I found it started is by this post by VGen on Twitter, who goes by Zayan, writing, "Here is why my streams have been inconsistent these past days. It's been a lot to process. I am so sorry if I have seemed off in the past 2 weeks. Please do not send hate to the creator mentioned. This is purely to spread awareness." So the document reads, "I did not want to make this document, but the person discussed in this has quite literally scammed me and possibly lied to PayPal to win the PayPal dispute to not have to refund me. This document has been made to raise awareness on anybody who plans to work with Mikhail Misfit, for them to understand how horrible my experience working with them was, aside from them scamming me out of my hard-earned money. Please make sure to check the attached chat logs for evidence and further context. English is my second language. I apologize beforehand if anything doesn't make sense." In mid-February, I entered a friendly mutual editing arrangement with Mikhail Misfit, who was also my friend at the time, and he offered a bundle of editing services for a discounted rate. The initial collaboration was full of understanding and support on both sides. I even asked if I could do it via VGen because they wanted to get reviews on VGen. They refused and preferred PayPal. So they linked DMs about the initial combo. So we can see Mikhail sent a message over to Zayan February 13th, 2025. So Mikhail shows their organized work for their editing services, including shorts and long form. Zayan says, "Oh, hold my phone, this is so good. How long does it usually take you?" Mikhail says, "For shorts or videos, give or take 8 days, including procrastination, 30 minutes to an hour and a half for a short, considering ADHD. Zayan says, "This is so cool. How much? We can do monthly payments or weekly, whichever you prefer." Mikhail says, "What things do you want?" Zayan says, "PayPal link," and Mikhail says, "Not that, I meant what edits." And Zayan says, "I mean, I don't know, both. I did this one cursed video once." Mikhail says, "Be specific, define cursed." So Zayan links a video. Mikhail says, "I'm used to cursed." Zayan says that they spent the whole week editing, but it didn't turn out the way they wanted. And that, it's a commentary video. And here they're asking for some clarification on what they want. And then Zayan sends another video. This one is a short, and Zayan says, "The long ones are what I like to do, so when I finish the series, every 2 months, kinda, not every month." And Zayan says they suck at editing, 20 minutes or stream highlights. And then Mikhail's a bit confused. And Zayan clarifies, "I really want somebody to edit short form and funny moments and stuff and stream highlights. Otherwise, the long form deep analysis videos I like to do." So Mikhail says, "Sure, shorts and stream highlights I can do." And Zayan says, "Yep, that's what I need." And Mikhail says, "The deep analysis videos, never done those, but I do watch them often. I can give it a shot if you need." And then Mikhail says, "Oh, give or take how much were you considering monthly?" And Zayan says maybe 100 to 200 euros. It can't be more if I get some income from YouTube. Mikhail says, "I mean the amount of shorts and videos monthly." Then Zayan clarifies, "I was thinking like 3 shorts a week if I'm streaming so much, 2 videos monthly." And they send another video they've edited. So Mikhail says, "Okay, 2 long form videos around 10 to 12 minutes like the one you sent, plus 3 shorts a week for 4 weeks, so 12 shorts." Zayan says, 2 to 3 shorts doesn't have to be too much." And then Mikhail is reacting to what looks to be the video Zayan sent. Then Zayan says, "Also, I can give you my CapCut Pro account and my Canva Pro if you need those." And Mikhail says, "No, it's fine. I pay for Moravi." I feel like here, just personally, there's a lot of miscommunication between Mikhail and Zayan as to what they're talking about, like whether they're talking about videos or whether they're talking about like how much the payment is, etc. They seem to be always arriving at the same page, which is again completely understandable if English isn't your first language. If you ask me to communicate with an editor in Chinese, oh god, good luck. I'm gonna misinterpret everything. So they kind of go back and forth a little bit here, a little bit confused, and then Zayan sends some edits that they like. Mikhail says they know the editor, that they love him. Then they're kind of debating payment here, and Mikhail is asking about how long the VODs are. And then Zayan says, "Well, I stream for 2 to 3 hours max, so I can always edit them for you to just have the important parts too." And then Mikhail's clarifying on subtitles, full subtitles like the one you sent me. And Zayan says, "Oh yeah, I really love the subtitles. CapCut has auto caption, which works wonderfully." Mikhail says ... and Zayan says, "I swear." Mikhail says, "Do it manually." Zayan says, "You should use it." And Mikhail says, "Hold on, let me take a screenshot." So then Mikhail shows 7 minutes and 30 seconds of a timeline track where it looks like they made the subtitles manually. And Zayan says that looks like torture. This is absolute hell to manually do subtitles, especially for a video that long. I would absolutely lose it. I used to manually do subtitles before I got Adobe Premiere Pro. And then in Premiere Pro, you can auto caption stuff and it saves you like hours of time, I'm not even joking. And Mikhail adds, safe to say, I did once accidentally write down for a client full subtitles without adding the fee. It turned out in 2 days of subtitling, 12 minutes and 8 spelling mistakes. So here Zayn sends a video with full auto captions that they did themselves in what looks to be CapCut. That's what they said they edit in. Mikhail says, there's the AI version on Moravi, but I prefer to make it myself because I noticed it's shit at understanding. Zayn says, the CapCut auto caption is so precise with very little mistakes. Then here they're discussing payments. So Mikhail says, maybe I'll consider 12 clips, so 3 per week. Normally is $108, but it'll go to $85 with the bundle discount. 8 clips, so 2 per week, $65 with the bundle price. 2 long-form videos, including green screen effects, memes, use of assets if provided, from a 3-hour VOD is 30 euros each, so 60 euros. Adding a full subtitles adds an extra 20 euros, so 40 euros for the 2 videos, for a total of 100 euros. So approximate total, 2 VODs plus 12 clips equals 185 euros, 2 VODs plus 8 clips equals 165 euros. And then they added the video is based off VOD length, so $30 for the VOD length plus $20 sub fee. And for shorts, fully subbed, effects, etc. included, subtitles, I think. Base price is 9 euros each. The 8 short bundle is discounted down to 65 euros instead of 72. 12 shorts, I can bring it down to 85 euros because I feel bad for more. You also get points for my loyalty card. Every commission of 15 euros equals 1 stamp. And that gets you some bonus, usually discounts. I can either do that or directly add in a little artwork each month. By the way, I just want to add, I don't know where Mikhail lives, so in terms of pricing, but that's really cheap, like 9 euros for fully edited shorts with subtitles and stuff like that. I will say though, I live in America, so I'm used to just like America prices, but like $20 I've seen like bare standard for fully edited shorts. Then Zayn says, okay, deal. Since I already half the month, how about we start now and I pay you half for this? And then the next month payment for the full month. And then Mikhail says, sure thing. Just let me know which things to work on and I'll add it to the queue. And let me know what kind of drawing you like. I was thinking of making this. Well, I have free time tomorrow. It takes me like half a day to chop a video and one of the clients queued just needs editing. I move this one over the others because their deadline is in March. You get privileges. So Zayn offers to chop the video, again, like just cutting the video to just the bare bones important section so that the editor can just work on that. And Mikhail says, oh, it's part of the job. I can make you a small reactive for this month, hoping I find the time for it. Also, it works as an emo in case. So it looks like maybe like a freebie art that they're sending. So Mikhail sends an example and Zayn says that's so cute. So Zayn is talking about the video, the long form, and referencing the previous video sent, being like, oh, I really like this style. For this month, we have a Minecraft medieval stream coming up, so there's going to be a lot to get from that. And then Zayn sends another short that they really like, and then Zayn sends over some assets and a little cute shrimp asset. They're kind of talking about that. Now they're discussing what type of shorts to do. Also, by the way, this entire conversation happens all in one day on February 14th, 2025, conveniently Valentine's Day. And then regardless, Zayn offers to send the VODs chopped. So again, cutting out the irrelevant stuff for the editor. It does make the editor's life easier, but typically it is within the job of the editor who edits VODs to cut it themselves. It's just literally up to you. For me, with my editor, I timestamp it. So my editor will have timestamps, but he cuts the VOD himself. And then Zayn is asking for the PayPal. Mikhail is being a little coy, being like, oh, I hope you forget about that. Mikhail sends the PayPal. And then Zayn sends half of the quoted 185, which is $95. And then they kind of discuss again about Zayn's stream for a little bit, things that they could do. And then Zayn is sending some voice memos. And the way Mikhail is responding, it looks like Zayn is asking to whether it should be VGen or PayPal, and that may be like, oh, we can do VGen so you can get reviews. And Mikhail says, oh, no, it's VGen takes a fee, so they don't want to add it because there's a VGen fee and then the PayPal fee on top of that. Whereas if they go directly through PayPal, it's just a PayPal fee. So back into the timeline where Zayn writes, I was transparent from the beginning about my boundaries and the kind of help I was looking for in building my VTuber brand. I offered flexibility, trust, and open communication. I consider Mikhail a friend and felt understood and heard whenever we conversed. I enjoyed the company and the helpful gestures. I tried my best to mirror that as well whenever I could. We had a great friendship and we clicked quite easily. However, over time, things broke down due to miscommunication, passive aggression, and an emotional dynamic that made me feel like every request I made was received with hostility. Mikhail often misinterpreted clarification as criticism, jokes as insults, and managerial structure as personal betrayal. What follows is a full and fair timeline of events, conversations, receipts, and efforts made to resolve the issue peacefully, before resorting to a PayPal dispute to then this document. Timeline, February 14th. I explained my personal safety concerns and how I needed videos to avoid certain topics due to the environment I live in. Mikhail responded supportively and respectively, which I really appreciated and grateful for. Our friendship was becoming very important to me. February 15th, 27. I gave Mikhail access to VODs and Twitch editor tools. We had ongoing communication about edits, shared jokes, and enjoyed working together. February 18th. Paid 95 euros for February's editing bundle that covered 6 shorts and 1 highlight video. All videos were delivered. Though the highlight was completed in early March, I did not raise an issue at the time. It was a discounted bundle and I was so grateful for his efforts and pricing. I must also add that I was not shown a TOS at this time nor signed a contract. I simply agreed to the price and sent over the money. February 21st to 25th, we plan to triple the content output starting in March, including long form and short content due to Ramadan. Mikhail was supportive and I offered to give him more structure and clear VOD access. Mikhail requested a formal task list and I shared one. He pinned it in our chat. I also shared about wanting a manager because of how my schedule is with a full-time job, being still fairly inexperienced in the VTubing community. A manager would have solved many of my overthinking struggles, such as how to market myself, how analytics work, reach, engagement, and such. Mikhail offered to be my manager, to which they mentioned having experience that could help in that area. They even mentioned how they needed it for themselves as well. I asked if I could pay for it because previously and in-stream, I mentioned being uncomfortable receiving a service without paying for it. I later sent him a link to a manager service from my current manager, to which he said he had a look at and said he could offer the same services. I also mentioned I would not be comfortable with them working on so many things for me while they have a debut to work on and their own content creation journey. I told him I would like to pay for all of it, modding, managing, editing, and they did not want to pay for it. I complimented how they were so good at knowing Twitch things. We then spoke more about content creation, as we usually do. I shared a template that I saw on YouTube on how to grow as a VTuber. It was a content plan for 2025. It was more of a thing to look forward to and pretty cringe, such as, I wish to collab with XYZ, reach numbers XYZ, make friends with XYZ. We then kept talking about content creation. We joked around, spoke about how each other is doing, etc. By the way, I'm just deviating a little bit, and please don't take this as me shading Zayn in any way. This is not the case whatsoever. I'm just trying to use this as a broader conversation because I see this a lot, mainly with VTubers especially, but I feel like with VTubers, indie VTubers, there's always this notion of needing a manager, wanting a manager, and I completely get it. Look, I started with nothing as a content creator, not a VTuber, but as a streamer, right? And then grew my Twitch, etc., in my other socials. It is very confusing, and you will always be at a loss at what to do. You will never know what to do. It's always confusing. It's really trial and error. I feel like a lot of times though, VTubers especially feel a pressure to get a manager, somebody that will like kind of puppet them, direct them, tell them what to do, give them reassurances, etc. And while I can completely understand the need for a manager or like the desire to have one, look, I have two. I do think that it can lead to a trap for smaller indie VTubers and just creators in general, because a lot of times I see smaller creators get managers and the managers don't know what the hell they're doing and they end up sabotaging the creator intentionally or unintentionally, right? There is a case that I'm covering. I don't know if this video will go up before the other video or whether the other video will go up, but there is a case that will be on my channel either, by the time you see this video, it's probably going to be up, about a VTuber manager who actively sabotaged the crap out of the talents he was managing, including deleting their YouTube channels and stuff. Yeah. So there's a lot of good managers. There are also a lot of managers that have harmed talents. My biggest thing is, I'm just telling you right now, look, if it involves money and your brand, them having access to your socials, whatever, I truly don't recommend you get a manager until you reach a point where you cannot operate without a manager. As in, you are so big as a creator that all of your loose ends that, your multiple YouTube channels, your clip channel, your clip TikTok, your regular TikTok, until managing all of that is literally not feasible for you anymore, I truly recommend you just do it yourself because it will do a lot of good. You will learn a lot and you do avoid issues of managers causing problems for you because that happens so often. Again, it's mainly with the inexperienced managers. Like, good managers save your life. I love my managers. They help keep me in check, accountable, wouldn't be able to operate without them. But again, I didn't get my talent manager who manages my sponsorships till I reached the point where it was like 40 hours a week of me dealing with sponsors, filming videos, emailing, hopping on calls, emailing back and forth, negotiating. And I didn't get my, day-to-day manager till I reached a point again where I had way too much going on, like different projects, whatever. And I had so many projects I wanted to do and I couldn't do it because even if I put my whole back into it, wasn't enough time to manage it, just so many loose ends, then it's worth it in my opinion. Again, just my opinion, just from my experience. I've been creating for over 6 years, but I've just seen too many horror stories. So here are the manager DMs. So it looks like Zayn is sending them stuff for their debut, and then they talk a little bit. Mikhail is giving some advice, like prompting them about things that Zayn should be thinking about. Then Zayn says, by the way, I'll pay you most likely triple this month. And Mikhail's like, what the F? And Zayn says, I apologize, but me want content. And Zayn says, long form, but I don't know. I looked at my VODs and has a lot of shit. And Mikhail says it's fine, I don't mind, just let me know. I'll remove some slots over on VGen accordingly. On that side, it just got verified. Zayan says, do we need a contract? Mikhail says, sure. And Zayan says, I was joking. Mikhail says, I never know with you, B, but a reminder of me of what I gotta do does help my ADHD. So then Zayan sends that manager video. Then they discuss another video Zayan had sent prior about a VTuber hitting partner in 4 months. So then they discuss like Twitch mods, and then Zayan mentions that one of their mods is not really available. Mikhail says, I mean, if you need, I don't mind. And Mikhail says, with uni, I will struggle some days to actively mod now that they added more classes, but I should be able to help you for most streams. And Zayan says, Mikhail, I don't want to sidetrack you. If I can pay you, I would love to do that. And then Zayan says, that's the thing. I want you to also focus on what you're doing for your content creation. So Mikhail reassures them, and Zayan says, are you sure? I would still like to pay for that modding, editing, managing. Tell me what price points are good for you. And Mikhail says, well, you already pay me for managing. I don't know. And Zayan says that, they want to pay. And Mikhail says, I don't mod for money. I've modded for 3 years with nothing. It's fine. And Zayan is again like reassuring that they can pay and that they need, content pumped out. Mikhail says, I don't know how I know these. Okay, I'm so surprised that some shorts for my clients did so well. So Zayan is complimenting Mikhail's skills. And then Mikhail is dropping some more wisdom of like, here's how you should think. Then they're kind of talking. And then Mikhail is like, oh, a little sidetrack, but I can do most of those things, if not all, or at least try to help. So you prefer to be more down to earth, chill, casual streamer with a safe community. And then Mikhail asks if they could show Mikhail something. Mikhail says, sure. And then Zayan drops like a 1-year plan they have. By the way, complete side note, absolutely respect it. 1-year plans, 5-year plans, absolutely great to have. And then Mikhail is again giving advice, being like, hey, don't focus on the numbers, da-da-da-da-da. Having goals is great, but stressing over numbers can ruin your mindset. Zayan says they haven't really looked at numbers, and Mikhail says good. And Zayan's kind of talking about their numbers, kind of talking about their experience streaming, not as a VTuber, but as a FlushTuber. So Mikhail is giving some more advice about like skills and that, any skills that you have is good. So they're saying good, good, good. And then Mikhail says, next thing, since you already have videos started for the YouTube, I think planning the video thing for YouTube would be good, and also me. Then Mikhail says, for long videos, you should plan the day of the week, the time. It should not match the time when you stream, either before you start or right before when you end. This way, people who may come across your video can say, oh, well, let me check this guy out. Oh, wow, look, when he's streaming. And then Mikhail is stating short form, day, time, post the same clip on multiple platforms, and giving some more advice. Back to the timeline, February 25th, 2025. I had just received my paycheck and saw that the manager I wish to work with had her slots open, and I inquired about her services. Everything she offered is exactly what I needed. Mikhail had been complaining about working too much and not sleeping enough. I was lost in discussing with my current manager how to plan things, etc., and it all felt right. So I hired them as a manager for 3 months. Then I mentioned I was hiring a content manager to help with scheduling and upload organization. Mikhail responded with hostility, claiming he should have been consulted first. I should have been informed before you brought in someone else, end quote. I had to apologize to him multiple times that this experience would be great for both of us, and he had a lot of work, and I would not feel okay with overloading them this much. So here they're talking back and forth, and Zayan says, oh, are you awake? Thank God. So I may have impulsively hired a manager for 3 months. But it's because I want you to focus on what you have going on and editing. Mikhail says, ... hun, I don't mind, And Zayan says, I also hired a social media manager. And Mikhail says, I see. Zayan says, but since I need more 10-minute videos, let's up the price, my love. And Mikhail says, how many do you need? Zayan says, okay, 2 videos a month is great, but for those short ones, I think also 2 to 3 is ideal. And we can keep shorts at 2 a week. Mikhail says, though I would have preferred if he talked to me first about the change, even just for the video. And Zayan says, I'm so sorry. I got so impulsive when I got my paycheck and had a chat with her. So about the videos, Mikhail said, we had 3 shorts a week plus 2 long videos a month. But what about the 10-minute ones? And I already told you before a couple of times that I didn't mind, considering that some of this stuff is things I do as the editor. Again, talking about the manager, she offers so many services and the 3-month bundle is so good, and I really don't want to stress you with my stupid shit. Hold on, I'll ask my homie since he has the whole social media thing on lock. It's his IRL job. And replying to Mikhail's comments, Zayan says, but I want you to breathe. I feel like you're under so much pressure. Mikhail says, I'm not. It would have helped me organize myself too anyways, but it's fine. Zayan says, I'm sorry, I really did not want to pressure you even further with what I have going on as well, and we might learn so much from her together too. And I really was impulsive, the inner demons took over, which is not an excuse. My true intention is just to not overload you. We still have videos to do and stuff, and I didn't want to add extra stuff on top of that. Mikhail says, there wasn't much added, and again, I said the other day it was helpful for me too. But it's fine. Zayan says, we can learn together from her, and I'll share important things I learned too, so think of it as a learning experience. And on the video thing, I might increase the load of edited videos. I think 2 shorts a week, 2 highlight videos like before, and maybe 3 to 4 of the 5-minute videos or talks. And Mikhail says, you have 3 shorts a week actually, so I keep that. And Zayan says, if it's too much, no need to keep it, but if it's enough, let's go. Mikhail says, 3 shorts, 2 highlight videos, 3 of the 5-minute videos. You have something to post for 6 days, leaving the 7th day as a day for posting the long video twice a month. And then in response to Zayan reassuring reassuring Mikhail earlier, Mikhail says, and it's fine, no need. Zayan says, I feel like I made you upset and I'm really sorry. So Zayan had talked about pushing the model debut back, and then Mikhail says, I am, because simply from the editor side, it would have been nice to know what these people thought would be a good amount of posts to make. There's also the fact I was already helping with most of these things prior. Putting aside the fact that it was helpful for me as well, that is not a relevant issue here. But there is the fact that doing this does feel like you never trusted my help in the first place. It's annoying, but fine. And then Zayan once again gives more reassurances, being like, yeah, I get it. I trust and wholeheartedly believe in you. I just don't want you to mix the two and have so much on your person. You also have a debut, and there's nothing against you, but she has so many services to offer and it suits my needs because she's worked with people who needed managing. This is in no way a slight on you or an attack towards you. You're my friend, and I don't want to have to pressure a friend for my own needs. I wouldn't be okay with that on top of the editing. That alone is too much, and I can't be okay with myself. And then Zayan agrees to the videos they were listing. Mikhail says, yes, I was busy, and as I said, it's fine. Zayan again isn't sure that they're fine, saying it's not fine, I don't want to cause you hurt or pain. Mikhail says that they're gonna start working and that they're not mad. Disappointed perhaps, but besides that, I don't expect somebody to be interested in my help. I probably should have simply never bothered. Then they send what looks to be a short they've completed. Then Zayan says, I understand how you feel, but please try to see it from my view as well. It's not that you're not helpful. You've been the biggest help to me these past few weeks, more than what I could ask for. I hope you can see that. And again, same reassurances of I don't want to put too much on you. And Mikhail says, it's fine. Zayan says, all right. And then Mikhail says, is the short fine or not? And Zayan says, it's great. It's really funny. Homie also said that your edits are really good, being Zayan's first mod. Mikhail says, I'm glad to hear that, I guess. Zayan says, Mikhail, I would still love to work with you. You know that, right? I want to be able to support you and also want you to edit with me with proper pay. Again, providing more reassurances. Mikhail says, yes, and it's just work. Zayan says the editing is, yeah, but you're my friend first and foremost. Mikhail says, I just do my job. Zayan replies to that saying no, and then Mikhail says, yes, I'm doing my job and that is all I will be doing. I'll check tomorrow or later. I still haven't bought Minecraft anyways, referring to a server. Zayan once again says, if that's what you truly wish, I feel like all of this didn't have to go down this way. I really don't want to keep feeling guilty for wanting to try something that was with the best intentions and keep getting replies like this. If it makes you feel better and you don't want to do this anymore, please let me know. I don't want to make you feel bad or myself. Then Mikhail says, I will be clear. Although I thought it already was earlier, I'm still mad that you decided that communicating with me beforehand wasn't worth considering. That is what pissed me off and still does, because in this whole convo, you didn't exactly apologize for not informing me. You want to trust somebody else with management, I don't mind. I mind the fact that despite the fact I told you clearly it was helping me as well, you still decided that worrying about me not overworking and asking somebody else was more important than asking, because simply put, you did it behind my back. The same thing goes to asking your friend about being your social manager, and not because of the fact that I wanted to be that, but because that impacts my work as the editor. You should have asked his ideas for your content and schedule, then ask me, not jump to decisions that impact not only yourself, but also me. I am mostly disappointed. I don't feel bad. I know that the respect was not given, and I am asking is the bare minimum. As for your question, no, I do not want to lose work. I'm putting my intention on just because of things you decided, especially since I already did lose a few things I was working on for you. So as an editor, I personally can continue to work, but you did lose a lot of trust I was putting in you as a friend, so you can simply disregard that furthermore or figure out yourself how to regain it. I am fully aware you cared enough to not want me to overwork, but that still does not excuse how things were done without any notice. Zayan says, Mikhail, I have apologized over and over for the whole thing. Every time I did, you brought up trust, and I kept trying to tell and explain to you it's not about that. And it is definitely not about me purposely going out of my way to hurt you. How many times do I have to say, even if you say it's not a workload for you, it is not okay with me because I have eyes. I see how much work you have, and I cannot be physically or emotionally okay with overloading you with work. And I told you the moment I hired her was the exact same moment I told you she had one slot left and it was limited. I have no idea what further I can do to explain myself. We never discussed finances regarding managing or how it will play out. You just said yourself you'd do it, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. I don't know how you expect me to tell you I'm hiring a manager without you continuously saying you can do it instead. I can't be okay with that. I can't help but feel you're just trying to make me feel guilty over and over every time I try to explain myself, and I don't know how many times I can apologize. I never said I don't trust either. Have I ever shown any way that I don't? I have told you many times I do. If you feel like I broke the trust, I'm sorry, but I can't keep doing this over and over again. It is making things awkward for me to even treat this as work, which I never wanted to do because I told you many times I consider you a friend. You've offered to help and I thank you, and I've done all I can to convince you to let me pay for it, and I appreciate that at least I could do that. Beyond this, I genuinely have no idea what more I can do. It's making the atmosphere so uncomfortable and tense. It would be better if we finish this month and part ways in terms of editing because I really don't want to cause more harm to you or my mental health. Again, if you ever felt that I don't trust you, I do trust you and I'm sorry for all of it. Mikhail says, it's the lack of communication that is what happened here. I would have been fine if you informed me and simply told me instead of randomly saying, I did this. Even for the editing, I went back into that. I have told you I am fine with prioritizing your stuff over other occasionally clients I have because you'd be one of the recurring clients. Instead, it feels like you just assume I'd be fine. There wasn't a would it be okay. It would have been, but the lack of that disregards the communication I needed because it's simple courtesy. And yes, it does feel like you do not trust me and you're kind of running away from this, since you just want to end the whole work thing instead of understanding my point here. In a few words, the second you randomly decide to hire somebody, you have also impacted my work. Aside from the management, I am fine with not doing that. As an editor, I need to be aware beforehand if your manager decides something about how many videos you need to post. But I need to do it before you hire it because I need to make sure I can work with it. Plus, as a person and somebody who's doing a job, it simply says, quote, I trust you for now, but when I find somebody better, I'll get them instead, end quote. That is the issue that is still unresolved here because you're apologizing for hurting me, but I have no actual assurance you didn't view this deal in that way. You ended the deal just because it feels convenient for you, not gonna lie, since your manager can do that as well, but I'll give you the benefit of doubt. Be clear with it because this wouldn't have happened if you had informed me. It is your money, and if you want to spend it on somebody else for the management, it's fine. It's not my wallet, anyways. But just being the last one to know as if it is not relevant to at least inform me, that is something I do not appreciate. Also, no, I don't think you ever told me it was her last slot. Zayan says, oh my god, Mikhail, I told you we'll all be working together and bond of what they do will affect your work. I really feel like I need to make things clear. Like, you're the first person I told. Also, I asked the manager the moment I hired her, can you please make a group with me, my editor, and the social media manager? I would need so much if we could work as a team, and she immediately said that it would be ideal. And so did the social media manager. And I'm not trying to take work away from you or run away from this, but you've made me feel so horrible, and you keep guilt tripping me over and over again, and I don't know how many times I have to apologize. You didn't even tell me what was wrong until I kept pressing on and apologizing over and over. So I don't know what to do for the rest. So I don't know what to do. I really feel like shit and there's nothing I can do to make it better, and I'm trying, and you keep holding a silver bullet over me like I did something horrible. All I did was try to find something that was going to help me and help you at the same time. That was literally my intention. You keep saying that it's okay, but it's not. There's so much load on you, even if it's just from me. I understand you did say you offered to be my manager, and I'm so thankful and appreciate it. But you are doing these things of like, it's holding on to something that I did for myself and for my channel and making it so bad. I don't know why you've been guilt tripping me for over the 2 days straight now, but it does make me feel uncomfortable. I'm not running away or anything, but if anyone is running away, it's you because you kept dancing around the reason for a whole day yesterday, and I had to keep pressing on and on and on and apologizing over and over for you to tell me what's wrong. At that one time, it was that I hired the manager. The other time, it was trust. And now it's communication, and now it's me using you, which is all wrong. I literally gave you a plain and simple explanation, and I feel like you're just guilt tripping me, and I can't keep doing this. If you don't want to work on the videos, that's fine. If there's anything I need to pay for, please let me know, but I can't do this anymore. Mikhail says, first thing, I am explaining my point and I'm not trying to guilt trip you. And that was not my intention, trying to explain it at least. And Zayan apologizes for typos, explaining they're using text-to-speech because they have an IV. Mikhail says, I can finish the videos, and if your manager lets me know what is needed, that is great. Zayan says, I told you this. My manager said your videos are great, and the video plans are amazing. They didn't change anything about that. They're even like, we're gonna make a group chat for the editor, social media manager, and talent manager and work as a team, but you're the only one who's not on board. I really wish you could take a step back and actually consider if I would do that to you. It's never my intention to hurt you like in any way. Mikhail says, I appreciate the apology. There are now things you have put clear that were not mentioned before. I will continue my work, and probably I will need some time to believe you did not mean harm. And that's not fully on you. The only reason is because you are not the only person who has done this. I'm okay with the group, but the rest of them, as for us, I need a bit to separate, in my mind, you from people who did similar things with the purpose of hurting. But you are the first one who didn't mean harm, so I'll need a day or something, probably just a drink. Zayan again says, I'm so sorry if somebody has done this to you before. I don't mean it in a bad way. I genuinely love you so much, and I don't want to overload my friend. It sucks when you have to talk to a friend about work stuff. It sucks. I don't want to do that. I cherish the friendship more than the work. F the work and F the editing and F Twitch and all that stuff. I cherish the friendship more. Mikhail says, you're fine. I'm not mad now. And they're kind of joking a little bit about typos. Then Zayan says, please let me know when it's okay and I'll create the group. By the way, adding my 2 cents in here after everything that I see, this is just such a messy scenario. These is 2 people who are neurodivergent, right? Mikhail has ADHD. Zayan in the last screenshot admitted they have ADHD. I feel like things just go to shit if you have 2 people with ADHD like trying to work together together. No flame, I have ADHD too, because you can just read it in their convos. Like Zayn will say something and then Mikhail will respond, and then like Zayn will say something that distracts Mikhail, and then Mikhail will get distracted, and Zayn will respond to something that Mikhail previously said, and then Mikhail will get distracted again from the previous thing. So I can completely see how conversation breaks down, not necessarily for either person's fault, but just because like when you have two neurodivergent people, conversations always look like this. Me, when I text my people, always looks like this. Even me with my talent manager, like not my manager, but like the manager that manages my manager, we get derailed for like 20 minutes in call, like talking about cats and stuff, just because like ADHD, you're easily distracted. But I do feel like two people with ADHD trying to work together in like a manager VTuber relationship can get so messy because communicating is really hard if you have ADHD because you just get distracted. And then because you'll respond to something that somebody had said like 2 messages ago, then it makes the conversation really jarring to go back and forth. And then the other person would just get confused as to what you're responding to. There's an opportunity to misinterpret. I also think this is just such a messy scenario. Guys, I'm telling you, please don't work with your friends. I'm sorry. There can be great experiences with working your friends, but a lot of times it can also ruin the friendship. And it's one of those where it's like, hey, if you value the friendship, and I'm not trying to fault Zayn for this, right? Because a lot of times you work with your friend because like, you know, your friend's an editor. Maybe they're like, you know, in uni and they edit on the side and you can help them make a little bit of money because, and get their services. Hiring friends gets so messy because you can't really treat them as you would treat another professional, you know, being very blunt with them, being like, yeah, I need this by this time, being stern, because they're also your friend. So then mixing work and friendships and work and relationships like love, it gets so messy. I often don't recommend it because if it works well, it can be great. And if it doesn't, it just crashes and burns. And in this scenario too, I think it's because they started as friends. Mikhail feels this like really strong investment into Zayn's brand and wanting to help Zayn. And they're constantly volunteering, being like, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that. And Zayn is trying to be a understanding friend, being like, yo, I mean, you were like talking about how you weren't sleeping, whatever. I know you said you can do it, but I, as your friend, feel guilty knowing that I could partially be the reason you're not sleeping. So I completely get where Zayn is coming from of being like, oh, I don't want to overload you. As much as you're reassuring me, I would be more comfortable if I know that like, hey, I'm not overworking you. Even if you say it's okay, like it is what it is. And I feel like that's always a messy scenario if like Mikhail genuinely can handle the workload and Zayn doesn't believe them, then on Mikhail's side, they're probably just gonna feel really frustrated that they're not being believed. But on the other side, like, you know, you feel guilty. I think empathy goes a long way and just recognizing, hey, my friend is just worried about me, you know? Like it kind of felt like Mikhail went into this with like a really negative perspective of like doesn't trust me, you know? Like it felt like Mikhail was like reading a little bit between Zayn's words where Zayn was like, I am just worried about you. That is why. In Mikhail's head, it sounded like you didn't like me or my service, so you sought somebody else. And again, this always gets really tricky when you work with friends, especially if your friend is very enthusiastic and offers a lot of services, because to be blunt, like sometimes you just don't want their service. And it's not because like you don't like them as a person, but sometimes it's literally just because it's better to hire a professional, you know, than like your friend kind of like trying their best. This is not flame at all, you know, it is what it is. And you call a spade, you know, if your friend has never managed somebody before, and here is somebody who has managed VTubers, many of them, and they have one opening, well, it is the smart business decision to hire the manager. And if I were in the situation like that with somebody and I was offering help and they hired somebody else, I mean, I don't give two shits, like go do your thing, whatever, less work for me. But I feel like it can go a long way to not take things personally. And I get it if you were burned by people in the past, like Mikhail stated they had people in the past do this to them and like cut them out maliciously, I guess. But also like your past trauma isn't Zayn's problem, and like reacting like this, I think is just very interesting because it seems like these two people also have like really different attachment styles. You know, Mikhail like pulled back and was being kind of short. It seemed like reading it, Zayn felt like a desperate need to be reassured that Mikhail was okay, and Mikhail kept saying they're fine, and they were being short, so they were being like a little passive aggressive. But it felt like Zayn like needed that reassurance, so they kept like over and over saying, no, but like here's my side, like I'm okay, like I was just worried about you, I was worried about it, like are you okay? I really was just worried about you. you know? And I feel like this is probably just a recipe for disaster because you have two people that already have ADHD, so the communication is going to be a little staggered with like just how people with ADHD communicate. I have it. And then if somebody really needs reassurances and the other person tends to get a little salty, right? I have people in my life who get a little petty sometimes, and they'll be like a little short with you, whatever. Like I don't care. You'll cool off in a day and we'll be fine. You know, like it's whatever. But if you're somebody that does need that reassurance, then yeah, it doesn't look like Mikhail can give it like at all. It just seems like these two people are just very incompatible to be anything besides like very lighthearted friends because the communication just does not look like it's gonna be good. But again, please don't take this as me like flaming Zayn because at the end of the day, like they are friends, but there is this business aspect to it. They're not talking about their friendship here, really. They're talking more about the business aspect of it. And if you think of it this way, if your editor gets all butthurt that you hired a manager, that's weird, right? Because you are an editor. Mikhail also, again, pulls out like three different excuses, being like, one, you should have just consulted me. I should have been told first. Two, oh no, but like it's because of trust. Again, to me, this just shows that Mikhail is inexperienced. With my editor, look, I signed on to my management team. I told him, obviously, but like he was not involved whatsoever in the process of me signing on. I just told him, hey, by the way, now you're just gonna send the invoice to this guy instead of me. Okay, cool. We're still gonna work the same, right? Like, I do understand that VTuber managers operate differently, but it does feel like Mikhail is like stressing way too much about the nuances of it, right? Being like, oh, but like now the video amount might change, or like all these other things might change, or this might change. It really doesn't, right? Like the social media person will just tell Zayn, hey, maybe you need to change the number of videos. Zayn will tell Mikhail, and Mikhail will be like, cool, I'll make this many videos for you instead. It's really not that complicated. And in my opinion, an experienced editor who has worked with managers and creators would understand that. But Mikhail sounds like they aren't as experienced, so therefore they're like very unsure about how this process works. Or secondly, they've worked with managers that were crap managers and waffled around and made the process worse. I don't know, could be either one. But in my opinion, an experienced editor, like your job is to edit. So you just make as many videos as they tell you. That's it. But that was a long ramble. Going back to the timeline, February 28th, I paid 315 euros without the extra tips for the March editing bundle. This included 2 long videos, 12 shorts and clips, 2 Reddit-style edits, reading Reddit stories, Am I the A-hole, 12 5-minute videos compilations. Mikhail agreed and confirmed he was okay with the workload. I also hired a social media manager and we formed a team of 4. March 1st through 10th, workflow begins, red flags appear. I offered CapCut Pro for free to help simplify his workflow. He refused, saying he didn't have time to learn, which was fine. I was just worried about them overworking themselves with subtitles, etc. I started a 100-follower celebration giveaway for 3 weeks to give back to the community due to the growth we received over the month. My mods then entered and I joked about them being greedy. With the second giveaway, I asked my mods not to join as they were paid for their services and I would find other ways to gift them without it being tied to the community giveaway. Their attitude was also noticed in the group chat while responding to inquiries from other members of the team, which was hostile, rude, or snappy. Uploads were late, but we did not mind that at all. We had an ideal schedule for how videos would be uploaded, yet we didn't mind them being late. What lacked was communication. We did not know what he would be comfortable doing or what was actually taxing him, or if he was overloaded with work. It was never communicated, rather accumulated then spewed onto the group. We rarely got progress checks or such, but everyone was trying to be patient and ensure that Mikhail was not overexerting themselves, reassuring them with taking care of themselves first before taking on more work. This was met with Mikhail refusing and making it seem as though we were demanding he finish his work even if he misses IRL's responsibilities or sleep. It was also met with more passive aggression. At some point, I was asking if they could correct a spelling mistake from a video while sending a list of other things for edits. I asked again while replying and it was never corrected and I did not want to harp on it further. I figured they were probably stressed or pressured and I shouldn't be adding more pressure to them. I asked for a checklist of what was completed. Quote, hey Mikhail, can we get a checklist of videos done for February up to now please? End quote. I don't know how many. Aside from that, I don't know. I gently reminded him that this would help with future organization, but even that was met with resistance. By the way, again, I just want to add, this is why hiring friends is so messy. Again, I'm not blaming Zayn for this, right? Because like, if they're your friend, they might talk to you about personal stuff. Like, oh, today, like this week at uni, it was really stressful. I didn't really get much sleep. Well, now you're gonna feel bad that they owe you videos, right? Because now personal life is getting mixed in with work. I always think it's so much better to hire somebody that you don't know or like you aren't friends with, right? You know, it would be nice if you know them as long as you're not close with them so you can remain that professional relationship. In my opinion, also, if you are doing a professional service with somebody, you should not be like dumping your stressors on that person. As in like, oh, this week was really rough, like I didn't have that much time, like I barely got any sleep. It's gonna make your client feel guilty. Obviously, discretion, big IRL life events, if you need to take a little break, obviously communicate that. But like, you know, if you're having a bad day because you woke up and you want a Chick-fil-A and it's Sunday and now you're pissed, your client shouldn't know that. Right? That's not their job to know. You're just supposed to give them videos. March 10th through 14th, repeated passive aggression as we continued giving creative ideas and video references. My suggestions were met with sarcastic replies. I kept reassuring him, never rushing, saying things like, you don't have to do everything, just whatever you can manage. Things were always twisted and manipulated to seem as though he was being criticized. It scared me and gave me so much anxiety. I was afraid anything I say might cause another manager situation to happen again, and working with Mikhail did not rest well with me. March 15th. I messaged Mikhail to say I no longer felt comfortable with the working dynamic. They overtook it and twisted it to blame me. It was very stressful to try to communicate with them over the matter and end on amicable terms, instead of losing a friendship over work differences. I asked for half the payment, €115 without tips, or if we could just work on the last videos and part ways. I was met with hostility and being gaslit and blamed for a lot of things that I haven't done. I tried my best to communicate with him and debunk these claims that he accused me of, and I kept going back to him being a victim and I'm the villain. By that point, I just told him to keep the money and not message me again, as I would like to part ways. So we have DMs. Mikhail is resisting the suggestion to use CapCut. Zayan says, hey Mikhail, if at all is it possible, I would like to stop the agreement we have. I feel like whenever I ask for adjustment, it's always received wrong or taken as an attack. It's been affecting me and I don't feel comfortable. If it's possible to refund half of what it was done, I would like to do that, but if not, you can finish the rest of the videos. I would just prefer not to work together and have it come at a cost of our friendship. I hope you understand it's okay for us being friends. I don't want bad blood. I wish we could communicate often in a manner where we can understand what's doable and what's not. I don't care if videos are late, as long as you're not stressing yourself and depriving yourself of sleep and joy. Apparently, Mikhail was editing the videos live, and Zayan expressed discomfort with that, stating that they were afraid if they said anything, they would get attitude or be perceived wrong. Then Mikhail responds with a big message, being like, honestly, I've been doing my best to communicate. Half the times, you have set me as the cause of miscommunication. I have to wait on your decisions. Even when I asked something, I had to do it multiple times. Even when I asked for a timestamp, because I said twice, it helped me. Besides, you haven't treated me in a friendly way. The occasional comments, I help with mod work and you told me off saying you got this while I dropped my things to help. Like again, here's the miscommunication, right? Like Mikhail is eagerly offering modding services. Zayan sounds like they were worried about Mikhail being overloaded, was like, oh no, I got this. And it's just like, oh, it's just bad, man. Like Mikhail is like assuming the worst, assuming that Zayan is like malicious and being like, oh, I dropped everything to help you and you don't want my help. Whereas Zayan is just worried about them. So Zayan is declining the help. This is what happens also when you assume the worst of people, because then you end up like this, right? If you start assuming the worst of what people are doing, which is what Mikhail is doing, then you're going to end up interpreting every action from Zayan as like a slight against you. And then Mikhail says, I don't even care about the giveaway, but I know by experience if your chat sees people join, they'll be influenced. And you call me greedy every effing time? That hurt. That was not me not communicating, because I hope for a second you didn't mean it in a harmful way. And you feared for what? I literally have two options for clients. I either don't work on it on stream or I do. By default, I do unless clients ask me. Some have asked it and I haven't cut their heads off for asking. So don't put it on me, because I know I was never unreasonable with my requests and communication. So Mikhail feels like Zayan's requests are confusing and that they're kept around because they're convenient. They add, you want something specific? Fine. Half the things you've asked style-wise are undoable, and not just because I don't want to do it. Unless I use After Effects or something similar, I can't. As explained in detail without any insulting and aggressive comments. The latest thing was wording, like most of the time. Put this doesn't mean, quote, can you do it / is it possible, end quote. That's the thing that's been pissing me off the most. You only do this now while you go on about how in the end, you just blame me for miscommunication. Should I even mention how I have to wait on a reply when honestly a simple I'm busy right now, I'll check in a few hours would be a huge help. Zayan breaks it down stating that their words are being misinterpreted and they want to clarify. So Zayan, for point 1, miscommunication, clarifies the issue wasn't timestamps because they gave key points, breakdowns, and VODs. The misunderstanding was because Mikhail was asking for upload times and Zayan didn't know that was what they're asking for. And that they felt like Mikhail always gave attitude. So in response to Mikhail stating they had to wait on decisions, Zayon says that there's a time zone because so if a video is sent when they're asleep, they can only check it when they wake up, and that they responded as soon as possible. 2. Your tone. Zayon disagrees, feeling like they've never spoken to Mikhail in a rude or dismissive way, whereas they felt Mikhail has been passive-aggressive or unnecessarily hostile, and references the manager drama. And then they quote some things Mikhail has said. Quote, the amount of shit I have to add is insane, end quote. Quote, yes, I understood that the first time, just something different, end quote. Quote, well, I need to add half of the live footage for the segment you're asking without putting too much lore because the dialogues make the video over 10 minutes, but also making it funny, but with a logic, end quote. Compare that to the way I speak to you. I always tell you to take care of your health first. Don't worry about the post as long as you're getting rest. I also never said lore. I said story timeline in reference to the video. I've always tried to be patient, supportive, and encouraging, even when things were frustrating. And referencing the giveaway greedy comment, Zayon says that it was a joke. Lore streaming edits without informing me. And Zayon says that they were never told that edits were streamed by default, and that they were worried that if they spoke up, it would be taken the wrong way. They say that if they had known that was a default, they would have said something sooner. 5. Assuming I don't value your work. It's not true, and it's based on outside comments, not anything I actually said. If I didn't value your work, I wouldn't have paid you or tried to make things work for as long as I did. I was frustrated with miscommunication, not your actual work. They're two different things. 6. Request of what's possible. The problem isn't that things aren't possible, it's instead of just telling me what's possible and what's not, you act like I'm demanding things from you. This is what I said. Quote, I'm only asking if it's possible to add inspiration or elements from that other style, end quote. Quote, if any of this is bringing you stress or added pressure, please take a break, or if you'd like to stop working on it, let me know, end quote. I have never forced you to do anything. I asked for adjustments and inspos from other styles, and if it wasn't possible, you could have said so, instead of acting like I was asking for something unreasonable or being passive-aggressive. By the way, like that one I'm a little confused about. So, I mean, from what it looked like in the messages, it looked like Zayon sent a lot of examples before they even agreed to the edits. So, I mean, did you not look at the videos? I mean, maybe Zayon sent different videos later, videos that looked very, very different, but Zayon sent a fair amount of videos being like, I like this video, I like this video, I like this creator style a lot, I like this editor style a lot. They sent a lot of examples. So if you watch the videos, you would have seen what is in the video. So then you would have seen what you can and can't do. So if you know that you have limitations, as in you don't own After Effects or don't know how to use it, then be clear with that, you know? But again, maybe Zayon was asking for some like outrageous edits down the line. I don't know. Another point too is I again feel like the core misunderstanding here is that Mikhail wants to feel valued and Zayon is worried about them. So Zayon doesn't want them to be overworked, because Zayon is worried. So Zayon keeps saying, oh, if you can't do it, it's okay. If you need to take a break, it's okay. It seems like every single time Zayon tells them, oh, if you can't do it, it's okay, Mikhail takes it as, I don't want you, and they're taking it personally as a result. It literally just seems like one person's playing chess and one person's playing checkers. Like they're not even playing the same game. 7. Replies. You said, should I even mention how I have to wait on a reply, whereas a simple I'm busy would be a huge help. Again, there's a time zone difference. I've always checked messages and responded as soon as I awake. And if I couldn't, I'd always let you know. I have to also check in with the mod so we can get things sorted and send over one message instead of a ton of messages. It's truly, let me gather my thoughts. Instead, you assumed I was ignoring you, which was never the case. Again, on a complete side note, I, as somebody with ADHD, is absolutely horrible at responding to messages. I ghost my boyfriend, okay? So that's when you know it's cooked. But I mean, I feel like, again, the thing is just don't take it personally. Like, you guys are friends, but in this situation, Zayon is talking to you as a freelancer, as an editor that's providing a service. Like with my editor, we have a Discord just to the two of us. On a side note, I feel like my editor and I have a great system. We just use Notion and it's very clear. We rarely communicate because it's just whenever I upload the video, I move it in Notion to the section that says needs editing. And then whenever he's done, he puts it in the section that says needs thumbnail. And then, yeah, I make the thumbnail. Sometimes he makes it and we just upload the video. It's very simple. We communicate maybe like once every week or 2 weeks. And sometimes, you know, he'll bump me, be like, hey, Kat, yeah, you gotta upload these videos. And then sometimes I don't see it, so I just don't respond. And then, you know, a day later, he'll be like, hey, Kat, about those videos. But he doesn't take it as a slight, like I'm ignoring him. It's not like I hate him and like I'm purposely trying to ignore him. No, I love his work. That's what I pay him. Okay, I'm just busy. Or I just forget. Or both. It's not a personal thing, especially if you have ADHD, right? Like you're just forgetful. And both of these people have ADHD. So Zayon says, again, I have tried to be as clear, patient, and accommodating as possible. I've never spoken to you with an attitude, and this is all about editing. I have tried so hard to work with you, but I feel like I'm met with attitude all the time, and you're just being passive aggressive. But Zayon said it much nicer. Then Zayon says, hey, when you get a chance, I'd like to reply. 2 days later, hello? And March 18th, Mikhail says, I'll be honest, I have chosen to ignore the DMs to enjoy a weekend in peace with my partners because I deserved a break. By the way, the irony isn't lost on me that one of their issues was you didn't tell me I'm busy, I'll get back to it later. So, you know, where was the I'm gonna take a break to enjoy the weekend, I'll get back to you on Monday. Like, where was that, you know? Right? You expect this out of Zan, but you couldn't do the same. Now they go back and forth again, okay? So Mikhail clears up their side. Point 1, about the timestamps, I asked when. The first time you replied with the days, I asked again an hour. 2, time zones. It's not about when you're sleeping. There's been moments you're online and I had to wait on you. Honestly, I can't wait for the next morning, but a simple, I'm gonna sleep soon, I'll answer later, or I'm cooking, walking my cat when you are awake would have been much better. Okay. I'm gonna start crashing out, guys. And I feel like every single video now that's long, I say that in the video because I'm gonna lose my mind. We have barely touched on this, by the way. Maybe this is just a difference in like how people operate. So let me know how you guys operate. Feels to me like Mikhail is holding Zan to a response expectation that you only really expect out of your romantic partner, right? Like my boyfriend, you know, gets a little like not upset, but he's like, hey, you know, I saw that you were online and you didn't respond to me. Like he knows I suck at responding, but you know, if you notice that I'm playing League of Legends for like 3 hours and he's like, yo, where's my response? You know, I did text you like 3 hours ago. That makes sense. Your editor, I mean, so like whatever, right? Oopsies, you forgot, whatever. Don't take it personally. They didn't see it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I have friends who like, not that I've had a troubled relationship with them, but it was like more difficult for me to like maintain the friendship because my friend and I actually had this difference where for them it was like, oh, why couldn't you just give me a quick I'll get back to this later? For me, it's I have ADHD, so I was responding to you and I put my phone down and suddenly my phone disappeared because my desk ate it and I didn't see it 3 hours, okay? Oops, it happens. I feel like there's just 2 different types of people who think like Mikhail and people who think like me, and just be understanding, you know, like if you think like Mikhail, just give benefit of doubt. It doesn't mean that Zan's plotting this like scheme to like take you down. They're probably just asleep or busy, or maybe it says they're online on Discord because they woke up at like 6 a.m. in the morning, played on TikTok on their phone for a little bit and went back to sleep. Oops, it might show you're online if you do that. I don't know, right? Benefit of doubt goes a long way, guys. And then Mikhail says, point 3, I have been cold towards you, and that is the difference. I put distance when I felt disrespected the moment you decided that asking my opinion before doing something that impacts me too. I'm gonna start crashing out. I disagree. You are the editor. Your job is to edit. And that 4, about the greedy thing, Mikhail felt like they were singled out, and that they write, I will put down in clear matter-of-fact words, you hurt me, and it was offensive. And 5, it is in my TOS, I always work on it. And the fear of what? You seriously think that low of me? 6, to this, actions. Besides, you keep putting the miscommunication on me and I've done my best to answer your requests despite them coming off as demanding many times. 7, first time you asked, that is how you came off as. And it wasn't just me, so you don't get to call me the issue here for this miscommunication because I check with people to make sure it isn't just me reading it in specific ways. So about the style, what part of the style do you want to change? Unknown. What things do you want to add? Unknown. And then Mikhail clarifies that was your main miscommunication. You came off as passive aggressive, especially lately, because I pick on the little changes in answers. Well, it's just your miscommunication. Honestly, that comes off to anybody as you taking me as a joke. Okay, they go back and forth on these 7 points for a little bit. It's like really messy and you can just read it on screen, guys, but honestly, no new conclusion has arrived, okay? The miscommunication that happened with those first 2, literally the same in these next communications, okay? No new point is arrived. Mikhail is very, very set in their way of thinking, and Zan is also very set in their way of thinking too. And then Mikhail says that they weren't trying to come off as passive-aggressive. I do think they sound passive-aggressive. Sometimes they sound blunt, and I'm a very blunt person, so some people just can't handle blunt people because they will take it as like a slight to them when you're just telling it as it is. But as somebody who is also a blunt person, I'm very straightforward. You have to understand that because you're straightforward, people will sometimes misinterpret what you say. That's just how it is. Like, I'm very blunt, but I try to give reassurances with what I say. It'll be something like, yo, I really appreciate you doing this for me, but like, you know, next time, you know, I already have an editor. I don't need any edits from you. You know, you can be very straightforward, but also reassure the other person's feelings, you know? I try to do this in my videos when I'm saying, you know, I try to clarify my intentions. And I'm the type of person that I take things as it is. So that's just how I speak, right? Like I said this over and over throughout this video. Like I'm not coming for Zan. I'm not shading Zan. I'm just trying to bring a bigger picture into this, right? If you are somebody that comes off really chop blunt, you gotta add some reassurances in there. Like just, it could be a straightforward reassurance, but otherwise people will misinterpret your words. Again, they go back and forth. It's like it's just like crazy because it literally just looks like a dog and a cat is trying to communicate and like one's barking, one's meowing, and no one's understanding each other. But they go kind of like about a TOS for a little bit, where Zayon says that a TOS was never sent, which in these DMs we never saw one. But the important thing is here, Mikhail says, I will ask you to either remove all the uncredited work I've done for you and those that have credit for it to be changed into any of my socials, full user or at. That's weird. Again, if in God forbid in the future, at some point my editor and I won't work together anymore. I'm not gonna content create till the day I die, okay? So at some point, probably long, long in the future, right? I'm gonna not make YouTube videos anymore, and my editor and I will part ways. When we part ways, I'm not gonna change every single freaking video into putting his username in the front of it. I paid for a service, the edit was the service. I'm curious as to your thoughts on this. I feel like with art and edits, it's one of those things where it's like you should give credit ideally, and it should be relatively easy for people to figure out, right, who your artist is, who your editor is, but you don't need to be tagging them in every single video if the service, the edit, or the art that was provided is something that's going to be used in big chunk of media, okay? Like an example, Twitch emotes, okay? They will be every single one of your Twitch streams, you will have your emotes. It'd be nice if you put a little panel with some credits. That's cool. That's it. That's all you got to do. Bare minimum, right? Like with my editor, I talk about him all the time. Like he's always in my comment section. Okay, he's Impactron. Like I make videos about him and I tag him in the videos. It's on my TikTok though, so some of you guys probably haven't seen it. You don't have to go very far to figure out who the hell my editor is. But again, I'm not gonna tag him in every single one of the videos, right? Same thing with art. I would say even for a VTuber, if you have a VTuber model, okay, you're not gonna tag your VTuber artist in every single TikTok video you make, but it should be reasonably easy to find it. In your card or your Twitter bio or like your pinned tweets or credited in your Twitch stream should be reasonable for people to find it. But every single credit like this is crazy, especially when the service is paid for. Zayon has overpaid, in fact, because videos weren't delivered yet, right? Like half of March's videos haven't been done. This is just like vindictive. Asking for this is too much. And Zayon again says, it's insane. You didn't send me a TOS. I credited you in every video. You're taking 70% of the money without work done. So here Zayon rethinks and was like, I originally said you could keep the money for the unfinished work, but after calculating, there's about 253 euros of unfinished work. I would like half of the 315 euros back. So that's less than 235 for those of you guys that can't do math. And then Zayon says, I have gathered the evidence and I'll open a PayPal dispute unless you do that. And then Zayon's getting ghosted. And then March 22nd, because Zayon has not gotten a response, they open a PayPal dispute, with the dispute needing to be resolved by April 11th. And here they're actively ignoring Zayon because you can see Mikhail is chilling in the Discord. And here Mikhail added information for the PayPal claim. And then Zayon writes that somehow they added physical tracking for a digital service. And then the case was closed in the seller's favor. So back to the timeline, March 20th. I spoke with mutual friends about the situation as I saw him often hang out with friends and asked about their input. And after calculating the money loss, which is 253 euros, I thought about it again and decided to contact him once more to find a solution. Otherwise, I would file a PayPal dispute. I was ignored. Refund requests of the 30 deliverables paid for in March, only 8 were completed. 4 shortened clips, 4 5-minute videos. I asked for a refund of 157 euros and 50 cents, half of the bundle payment. I clearly stated, quote, otherwise I have gathered all the evidence and will open a PayPal dispute and refund the whole amount, end quote. March 22nd. Dispute filed after several ignored messages. I filed a PayPal dispute with the advice of friends that were watching this unfold. While I messaged him, they were actively chatting on the same server with my friends, while also being in the same call I was in. Mikhail had also added a tracking number on the dispute case, which is false info as the service should not have a tracking number. It was bizarre given the state of how things were handled. March 26, PayPal's case closed in seller's favor. PayPal sided with Mikhail despite documented proof of the missing content. Summary of my experience working with Mikhail started with enthusiasm and trust, but gradually became emotionally draining. Every suggestion, clarification, or joke was misread as a personal attack. I had to tiptoe around simple requests. I constantly reassured him to take care of himself, yet I was painted as demanding. I never received a TOS. I never rushed him. I communicated gently, and yet I was made out to be the villain. Even when I respectfully offered to end the working relationship, he accused me of things I never said or meant. He made assumptions based on chat comments which no one in my chat commented about. He misinterpreted lighthearted remarks as insults. I gave him multiple chances to clarify, to resolve, to even keep half the money as a gesture, and he ignored me. I was forced to go through PayPal, and even that failed due to lack of a contract. This is not how creatives should treat each other. Final thoughts. I paid for a service, I didn't receive it. I asked for a peaceful refund, I was ignored. When I escalated, I was blamed. I cannot remember the specific dates, but I was in his stream once and he had been editing my work live, which I never knew was part of the arrangement. I stayed and lurked and he was complaining about requirements and how much work he had to do, which denied him streaming his game. I felt bad and gifted subs and sent a lovely message. This was awkward. I felt guilty throughout it, which I felt throughout this friendship. I was always gaslit subtly without really identifying it. I thought I must be wrong. It wasn't until I discussed the issue with my other friends and they pointed out how effed up it all was. I did not wish to lose a friendship over this, but I felt that it was becoming toxic and I was feeling horrible every time I attempted to communicate something. I want to reiterate. This whole document was made to explain why I came to the decision of wanting to discontinue working with Mikhail. I was entitled to a refund for what was not completed, yet they decided to continue acting unprofessionally and did not want to solve this amicably. I tried really hard to not lose a friend, but it was clear they did not feel the same. And then Mikhail, a day later, so Zayan's post was made March 28th, Mikhail posted on March 29th. A document will be uploaded tomorrow, hopefully in answer to one that was made about me. I had already scheduled plans today, so I did not have the time. What I will say is that sending over your friends to harass me midstream after telling me to, quote, not text you because you do not want to deal with high school drama, end quote, when I told you that you did not own up to your miscommunication or disrespect is far from mature. Plus, PayPal actually hasn't closed the dispute, so don't go lie about that. So Zayan then quote retweeted that, where you can see the entire case timeline. So you can see March 22nd, Zayan filed the case. You can see Mikhail added a bunch of stuff, that Zayan added some more info, and then March 26th, the case was closed in the seller's favor. And the literal proof, it reads, case status closed. Zayan's got the receipts. And then we get the other person involved, the third party. They go by the Twitter handle Bomb Bueno, who goes by Bomb, writing, I'm done keeping quiet. I wanted to finish his commissions. He paid me with Zayan's stolen money to get him out of my life. Yet, he now wants a refund despite my TOS stating no refunds. Mikhail is a scammer and everyone deserves to know this. Like, this is insane. He has copy and pasted messages to effing send for situations like this. He expects me to follow his TOS when he can't even follow mine. And so Bomb says, hi Mikhail, I wanted to reach out and say I do not agree with what has happened between you and Zayan. That aside, I'm not in a stable financial situation to refund you for all your commissions, but we'll get these commissions finished as you have paid for them. If you have any questions or queries regarding your comms, I would only be comfortable we communicate on a professional level rather than a friendly one. Mikhail says, hi, I would rather you do not work on any of them as you are not interested in knowing both sides, especially as somebody who does art, who has policies you expect people to respect. Hence, I do not feel comfortable receiving any work from you, and I'd rather have a refund take months than receive any work. There will be no friendly communication. I do not feel comfortable receiving any DM from you. Ping me in your art Discord if needed or an email. I do not wish to receive more DMs from another closed-minded person. Bomb says, regarding policies to respect, my TOS states no refunds, but that didn't stop you did it. As I actually have a conscience to sleep at night comfortably, I'm fine with refunding you bit by bit until you get your money refunded, minus what you have stolen from Zayan. And Mikhail says, forwarding. This DM is not welcomed and will not be read due to one or multiple reasons that were brought up in the previous conversations. If details were given on how you can reach out for a conversation, please follow that. If their contacts were cut after the last message, please do not harass me here or elsewhere. Also, aren't these like VGen DMs? That's like very, very professional of a place to be communicating in. Guys, I'm curious about your thoughts about a situation like this. I'm not talking about this specific situation, but any situation similar where artist has been commissioned by person A and artist hasn't started the work yet. Person A decides they don't like the artist anymore and wants a refund. Thoughts? So I personally have my own thoughts about like a no refund in the TOS, as in I think no refunds point blank period is kind of unfair because sometimes like there are valid reasons for a refund if you haven't started the work yet, as in, you know, they commissioned you, you haven't started the work yet, and something happened and they don't need the commission anymore. You lost nothing because you didn't work on it. That's like a separate thing. But a whole, I don't like you, bro, so I'm not gonna commission you anymore. Give me money. That's a very weird reason. So then on April 1st, Mikhail writes, it took me a bit longer than I expected to fully write down the details as an answer to the document that was made about me last Friday. I appreciate those who decided to wait to read both sides. The PayPal dispute is still ongoing and the harassment will be dealt with. We literally saw proof that it was closed, no? I'm really confused about that. Like, one of y'all are straight lying, but Zayan had the proof, so... Mikhail writes, my experience with Zayan Jin. This is an answer to the document so that both he and his community can stop spreading lies, misinformation, and picturing me as the bad guy, while you have wronged me and my work, but never owned up to anything. Important before I start. No, the PayPal dispute is not closed. So what he has said is untrue. So here we can see a PayPal dispute. You escalated to PayPal March 22nd. We contacted the buyer. Buyer is expected to respond before April 5th. Bro, what? Here, pending payment from Zayan. Okay, I'm just like confused because Zayan had the entire full screenshot which showed it was closed. You have these screenshots. But the thing is, like, this could have been taken earlier, you know? Like, the case was opened March 22nd, closed March 26th. This could have been taken earlier. I mean, I saw what I saw. It said closed. I don't know. Maybe PayPal bugged. Who knows? TLDR, harassment received, trigger warning. TOS not read and respected. I'm sorry. I respect trigger warnings, but I've never seen not reading TOS as part of somebody's trigger warnings. Lack of professionalism during work. Maybe I'm misreading the order of these words, bro. I don't know. AI tools offered, which were refused twice. 1. Addressing harassment received. I'll start by addressing this manner. People have shown up on my streams March 28th and March 29th. I'm aware that these are people he knows. While he has stated not to harass, it still happens. These people are free to do what they wanted, but chose to be immature and uninformed as none of them waited for a reply. I'm aware of more of these. Inform yourself before jumping to conclusions. Trigger warning, harassment. Sending me death both anonymously and not simply proves more how immature the people who believe you without asking for both sides. Did Mikhail receive death threats? Maybe. Lucifer writing no refund, alright big dog, not very cash money of you is not a death threat. I will say, look, you can be frustrated that people on the internet don't have patience and the maturity to wait for your side. But like, I mean, you also have to know how the internet works, right? Like if you were on Twitter, you're probably chronically online because everybody is chronically online on Twitter. And you must know that if you take a week to give a response, people get bored because the memory span of people on the internet is like 30 minutes. So I'm not trying to be like it's your fault, but like if you did take a week to respond, people are gonna start jumping to conclusions. That's just what people do. Look, sucks you received harassment. Somebody calling you not cash money, I don't really call harassment personally. Just saying, that's not Zayan's fault. You know, you may think it's Zayan's fault, but people are free to do whatever they want. And Zayan never said, hey, Lucifer, go to this bro's stream, then say that they're not cash money, okay? Zayan actively multiple times said, don't send harassment. Some people might, happens, you know, but bro, come on, like, you got one bro calling you not cash money. That's all we've seen, right? Like, if there were more, I'm assuming Mikhail would have added it because it took him a week to make the doc. 2. Payment dispute details. The client filed a case to be refunded more than 50% of the commission cost. While lacking the upgrade from Coffee to VGen, my TOS on card is always stated, no refund. The same goes for VGen, which is more updated, simply because I use it more. General, commissioning me means you automatically agree to my TOS. Like, okay, bro, I get that. If you commission me, you automatically agree to my TOS. I think it's a little bit predatory to add that in a TOS. Hear me out. If you didn't tell them, hey, by the way, make sure you read the TOS. You know, like Mikhail commissioned you in Discord. Mikhail paid you in PayPal. VGen was never touched. Card was never touched. Coffee, never touched. Sorry, Zayan is not a mind reader, okay? So while you might be like, oh, you should do your due diligence of like looking through TOS, you as somebody who offers a service should tell them, hey bro, by the way, make sure you take a look at my TOS, okay? Because otherwise you can write whatever the hell you want in the TOS and then have somebody commission you through Discord, and then all of a sudden they signed a marriage license to you for a green card because they didn't read your TOS, and you wrote that if you commission me, then all of a sudden I get your Canadian citizenship so I can escape the US, okay? Doesn't count. Here, in the picture, my TOS and VGen on the last day was updated. The following image contains the details of said policies. General, no refunds. Again, moot point, I'm ignoring this. Sorry, I read it for you guys, right? But this is a moot point. Sorry, I'm crashing out a little bit. I'm trying to rein it in. This is a moot point because the commission didn't happen through VGen. So you can't make that argument. The only valid argument for a TOS is if you have physical proof that you, in Discord, told Mikhail, take a look at my TOS right here, link. Let me know when you read it. And then Zayan verbally confirmed in Discord, in text that you can screenshot, that they read it. If you don't have that, doesn't count. It's a moot point. Quote, if I'm unable to provide the service, end quote. Canceling the commission while it's ongoing does not fall under the requisites for any refund. The commission in question also had things that were delivered. Zayan Jin had mentioned multiple times how I was the one who failed to provide my TOS for him to read, to which I answer with the following from my TOS on VGen and on card. You know, you making the screenshot like really big doesn't make it true. You know, Zayan's statement is true. You never provided the TOS. You literally stated that you never provided it. Let's read between the lines here, guys, okay? To which I answer with the following from my TOS on VGen and on card. Unless you provide physical screenshot proof that you told Zayan in Discord to read the TOS, link the TOS, and Zayan confirmed they read it, Doesn't count. Mikhail says, it is not my job to ensure that a client has read my TOS. These rules protect me as the editor and artist in situations like this one, where a client does not read them or does not ask for details. Despite this, Zayan has always stated it is up to me that it's ultimately my fault he has not read my TOS, which are public, and a less updated but still valid version of them is easily accessible on my card. Not once has he acknowledged his own mistake when he didn't read them or ask for details. I guess this is the card screenshot. I disagree. It is your fault. You are the supposed professional providing a service, okay? So anything that is required of the service should be covered by you, making sure they know a TOS exists. If you have made the client explicitly aware there is a TOS that exists and you gave it to them and they said they read it and they lied and they didn't, that's not on you anymore. You didn't even tell Zayan there was a TOS. 2, other things, okay? If you're editing for them, right, you are required to ask for the things you need to edit. You're required to ask for how many videos you want, what style do you want, what's the frequency you want the videos, like, do you want captions? All of these things are things that you need to cover your bases as the editor. Just assume the client knows nothing, okay? And I feel like this just comes into the issue again of like working with a friend, okay? Maybe benefit of doubt, that could be it. Like maybe you assumed more of Zayan because you guys started as friends, but truly assume your client knows literally nothing and you need to go and prompt for everything as the person providing the service because you're the one with the editing experience as the editor. So Mikhail continues, the following was the last forwarded info from me towards PayPal, breaking down in the detail total cost of work. Following this, I also submitted the proof of pricing, which was changed during February, as to which various clients on VGen can attest. I'm gonna crash out if this person thinks that changing things on VGen, the site that you guys did not use, is going to be okay. So here in the PayPal dispute, they add providing additional info, pricing breakdown to prove the change of the total the client feels entitled to receive, which would be wrong. As the client has canceled the commission while ongoing, he should be charged fully in part of the request that was given, removing all discounts that came with the bundle provided. Wait, what? For the 6 shorts, they are priced at €9 each for a total of €54. For the 4 videos of 5-minute duration, their price is €30. 15 for the duration, adding 15 for complexity, for a total of €120. For the one stream highlight that was worked on, meant to be delivered when the client canceled, he is to be charged partially for it, as the work was started, which is €40 instead of 50. €20 out of the €30 base price. Screenshot 2, adding €20 for the full subtitles he requested. Screenshot 3 for details of my add-ons. Only with this, the total will be €224 of delivered work, leading to €91 of undelivered work. But the client still refuses the proper credit my work was requested of him to do, instead of the use of @ with my username, proven in the 4th screenshot. When did you ask for this? He wishes to not credit my work properly, which entails his intention of keeping the work with full rights. Just considering this commission, there are 10 works that he wishes to not credit properly at all, which would be at least a €10 fee. Where is this fee? However, if this request of a refund is removed, I will be changing it to a €5 fee, which leads to a max of €50 of refund if that prevents him from harassing me more in the future. So here they show their VGen. How did PayPal buy this? Like, how did they fall for this, bro? Even my 9-year-old nephew wouldn't fall for this. In the information forwarded to PayPal, there was also the following screenshot from one of the videos I worked on that was improperly credited. So here they have the /credit. Oh yeah, edited by, and then there's the /credit, so they aren't directly tagged. Did you ever discuss this in Discord? Can you provide a single screenshot of proof where you stated, hey, by the way, in order to engage in services with me, you must directly tag me in the video. In my last message to Zayan, I requested 2 things. Any work posted without credit, for example with edited by, is to be removed. Any work that was posted with credit is to be fully credited instead of the edited by @Mikhail Misfit. It doesn't count if you say it at the end, by the way. I honestly want to achieve this level of delulu. Like, you must live a very happy life if you're this delusional. As the VGen terms of use and those on card describe, while not updated for my change of user, credits must be given with @Mikhail Misfit. Oh, it's in the TOS that once again, you didn't tell them existed. In this specific situation, the client was requested to fully credit using either one of my socials or the link on my VGen. This request was made more than a week ago before the chargeback. Again, doesn't count if you tell them after the fact. Again, doesn't count if it's in a TOS they didn't know existed. To this day, the client still refuses to fulfill said request. This is the reason for the fee that was calculated and mentioned in the info provided to PayPal. Though this fee, the client will obtain free usage of content I've worked on and will not have any ties for that works whatsoever. I've said this many times, you provided a service, the service was paid for, point blank period. Oh my god, and then bro added this humongous screenshot in like size 120 font. Dude, orange background plus big text doesn't make it true. okay? So now we're like back to the PayPal dispute in this document. What in the world? I try to give benefit of doubt, guys, but if you start talking this delusional, I'm gonna lose it. So Mikhail writes, in addition to this, the refund that was mentioned during the PayPal dispute to stop the harassment from you and cut ties definitively was before your document was made. In light of recent events with the harassment received from people which you or your document have indirectly or not caused, I would rather not provide that. My TOS, although messy in how it's displayed, has all the required information that are meant to protect me as the editor and artist. As stated directly, it's not up to me to ensure a client has read them. Nope, it is up to you, actually. By the way, I think it's gonna be so funny. This person sounds like the same type of person that when this YouTube video goes up, they're probably gonna blame Zan for the reason I made the video. They're gonna be like, it's Zan's fault for making the doc that Cat made the video. No, I only make videos if you look crazy, okay? Then I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good video. I'm gonna cover it, okay? If like the call out doc looks, for lack of a better word, messy and dumb, as in it is like high school drama, I'm not gonna cover it because it's like petty. Okay. But if you're doing stuff like this and claiming that a hidden TOS is suddenly legally binding in every aspect whatsoever, then I'm going to make a video about you because you sound crazy. Point 3. Lack of professionalism. My first disclaimer for this section is that I am aware I'm not perfect when it comes to communication, which is why I use copy and paste answers sometimes, receive aid in writing an answer to ensure my message is clear and doesn't always sound in ways that might be offensive. There was only one time where the client received a text that was meant to be passive-aggressive after the previous conversations requesting better communication were treated with no care or know-it-all answers. I do not have access to the chat anymore as Zan has removed me from the chat. I'll be going into as many details as I can provide on this topic while lacking some situations and screenshots for the mentioned reason. A. Hiring managers. I am unsure how many times I've said it was never about me previously doing managing work. It was unofficial, unpaid, and simply a friend helping out. The issue with the manager came by the fact that I was informed after they already hired. Hiring a manager could change the work I did as an editor, more workloads, specific deadlines, etc. As I said before to the client, I would have appreciated being told about the upcoming decision and being put in communication with the managers. Didn't have to be both, as one was specifically tasked to arrange social media and videos. During the first argument regarding the matter, only at the end I was told about the idea of creating a group chat with said managers in order to make the communication possible. As it worded, quote, I already talked to my managers about creating a group chat with all of us. You are the only one who is not okay with the idea, end quote. Wrong. That was the first time he mentioned creating a group chat with said managers. The group chat was later created, although there was never an understanding or apology from the client for the last minute change. The increased workload happened right before the start of March, with the deadlines close to each other, as the plan was to have a video a day. I had agreed to this with in mind the fact I could manage it, especially with help of these managers, whom I was supposed to work as a team. Issues arose when I received little to no help during this time when it came to editing. Again, you don't need to know a manager's being hired. That's not your job. Your job is to edit videos. B. Behind the scenes of work demands of lack of help. The work I was supposed to do included 3 shorts a week, 1 stream highlight or 10-minute video from pre-recorded content a week, 3 5-minute videos a week. This was for the whole duration of March. One short video can take me from 5 to 10 minutes to 40 minutes to an hour. It only takes me 5 to 10 minutes when I have a clip ready-made, or I was provided a timestamp of the VOD containing the moment I'm supposed to work on. When this does not happen, the time it takes me to find a clip and edit can be 40 minutes to an hour, if not longer. Even by keeping the VOD with double speed, it takes time. VOD scrubbing was not part of the work I was paid for, part of the request. I mean, going manually into every VOD, cutting the fragments that are required for the work. Only my stream highlight services included this, but not everything else. So they attach a definition for scrubbing. Okay, this person sounds extremely unprofessional and extremely new. Because, huh? I'm baffled. It is part of your job and you said so. Zayon kept saying, hey, do you need me to chop the VOD for you? And you kept saying no. So what's Zayn gonna think? Zayn's gonna think it's part of the job because you said so. Again, this is the thing. Oh my god, communication. And this is again showing how unprofessional or like just new to this Mikhail is, because Mikhail just doesn't know what they're supposed to be doing. You as the editor need to tell your client exactly what you need. The client is not gonna know. So if you need to be presented with a pile of already chopped videos, as in the dead spots beginning and end cut out, so you only have the rough cut to work with, you need to tell them that. And if you don't tell them and they say, oh, do you need to cut VOD? And you say no, well, that's it. The first request for help came from me without much demand. I was asking for which VODs I should work on and the timestamps of possible funny moments and interesting content that was said or happened. Clips were never provided, VODs were given in full, and deadlines were daily. I asked for clips for the shorts, but was rarely given already clipped content. Viewers during the stream did not clip, and the information about possible clips was either vague or absent. Upon noticing that there was no change, even with requests for more detailed instructions regarding the content to work on, I took it upon myself to send a message in the group chat. In said text, I informed that I was not going to be able to work or meet any deadline given if details were not provided at all. This was later defined as me being passive aggressive, miscommunication being my fault, that I should have asked sooner, even when I did more politely. Only then I was given just 1 hour of footage with some details about what I could clip and work on. But this happened once. And even after said video was sent for footage review, in which the clients approved the pieces so I can proceed with the edits, the client still frequently requested multiple changes in the footage he confirmed. More often than not, the client simply did not bother watching the whole video, as I was the one who had to correct little typing mistakes in sections that did not result as smoothly as intended. Well, it is your job to correct the typing mistakes in sections that weren't smooth. You are the editor. If there's typos in the subtitles, that's your fault. If it's not a smooth edit, that is also your fault because you are the editor. This clearly shows that Zayn's concerns were right. Zayn was concerned they were going to be overloaded. Look what happened, they're overloaded. C. Editing style. Another matter regarding the work happened with the editing itself. I was once provided a link to a YouTube video with the message, "This is the style of videos I want." Zayn later proceeded to defend his words, stating he was asking if it was possible to implement things from that style into my editing. My response was that it came off both rude and unclear. There is a difference between asking if one thing is possible and simply giving a video with no details on your request. I have conversations with other clients in which they have asked for changes in style and editing in which they asked. For their privacy, I will not put a screenshot of our convo displaying their names. By the way, I think, quote, "This is the style of videos I want," end quote, is not rude at all. That's just very straightforward. I mean, can Mikhail just not take what they dish out? Mikhail types like this. So Zayn sent a message like that. That's very straightforward. It's not rude. It is just straightforward. You were like feeling some type of way about it. But then when Zayn was feeling some type of way about how straightforward you were, straightforward, right? You could read it as passive aggressive. You could read it as very blunt. You were like, no, it's not like that. So I guess Mikhail adds this as proof, right? Like, can you censor the F word with a Funi sound? I think TikTok is anti-swearing. Mikhail says, cool. I had to break down the whole video style detail by detail with a description of what their style was, what was possible, and what wasn't. I was later told I was being passive aggressive and I should have understood that he meant, is this possible, instead of demanding the changes. For the client, all the miscommunication was solely on me. I agree. All the miscommunication is on you. I don't know how this person is not seeing it, right? It is your job, like literally assume your client knows nothing. It is your job to prompt, okay? So if your client sends a video being like, "This is the style I want," it is your job to be like, okay, what do you like of this video so I can implement it? They use these bubbly captions. Do you like that? They use a lot of slide effects with the whoosh sound. Do you want that implemented in the video? They use a lot of memes with sound effects. Did you want more of that? Assume the client knows nothing. You need to clarify because you don't know what you don't know. And the client will just look at the video and be like, looks cool, have no idea what to pick out. Send it to you because it looks cool. D. Editing tools. I won't go into many details about this, but I am most thankful for those who have informed me about one particular detail I had missed. Regarding the use of CapCut, it was offered twice and I refused both times, as it paid to use my own editing app that I'm comfortable using. I learned the commands, keybinds, and such, and I find myself faster with it. The reason CapCut was offered because of its auto subtitle, which makes the work faster, sure, but is it better? And they highlight that CapCut is AI, or uses AI to analyze the audio and generate subtitles. The app I use is Moravi, which also has an auto subtitle option. It's an option I do not use, and it's also marked as AI. So they show the auto subtitles. I'm unsure if I mentioned it in any DM because I officially found out it's AI on CapCut yesterday, but to be mad I refuse to use an AI tool to be faster is beyond disrespectful. I'm aware a lot of those who are siding with him before this document is posed as artists. I find it interesting, perhaps it tells a lot. So I'm not like a AI tech bro, okay? But the AI that CapCut and other programs, and TikTok has it too, that uses to generate captions, from my understanding, it's not the same as Gen AI, you know, trains on art and steals people's art. From my understanding, a tool that will simply speed up your workflow. And if you choose to not use it, sure, that's on you. But in my opinion, like, I don't really think it's fair to charge your client extra for this because there's literally a tool that will do it in like 2 seconds. That isn't, from my understanding, detrimental to artists. Like, I understand the concern, but I do feel like maybe I'm uneducated in this, but from my understanding, I do feel like it's a bit misplaced because it's not the same. So Mikhail writes, conclusions. As I stated previously, this is a response to the document made about me. I simply wish to clarify what was stated and to show what really happened. I did not waste my time writing down word for word what happened in a whole month. I only apologize for the slight delay due to unplanned exams and IRL matters. I had this document ready on Sunday. However, in light of the threats received and the lies that are still being spread, I have taken my time to write this meticulously. So Zayn writes, this is a quote retweet to the document. My favorite April Fool's joke, by the way. Well, I paid 333.3 euros in exact. I mentioned what I saw on PayPal, aka case closed. You never show me your TOS. In fact, you told me to not go on VGen and avoid the fees. Plus, your TOS is confusing. It's the same for both art and videos. You offered a price discount or not. You decided on the pricing and agreed on it, even though I insisted on paying you more. You put the deadlines for yourself and asked us for deadlines. We only gave you ideal days for things to be posted. You agreed to them, never delivered on time, which was fine. You even asked for upload times because it helps you. I did credit you the exact same way you asked me to. No one interrupted your workflow. Managers were just there to post the video and help where help is needed. If you didn't want to video scrub, why didn't you say? When I offered to cut the videos and send them to you, you literally said, "It's my job?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. CapCut's AI for subtitles does not generate art. You were complaining about subtitles and not having time to write them. I just wanted to help. CapCut Pro also offers free assets such as videos, images, audios, transitions. As we can see, I explain in the screenshots. Your reaction to me hiring a manager is actually quite insane. You having copy-paste messages shows your absolute unprofessionalism. You also talk badly about your other clients. You never communicate. It's all there, and we had the same issue with you not communicating your needs when joining a Minecraft server. In clear writing and in screenshots of our chat, it specifically mentioned that we would like to take elements and inspo from linked videos. We asked nicely. Always have. Please do show the death threats to raise awareness against these people in the community. You attempted to show what happens when I put every single chat log between us in relation to work. I can go on, but please stop lying. Here's the document again, so you may look at the evidence again. Also, this you. So here they showed the PayPal screenshot that Mikhail added in their document. And then here, this is February 19th. Hey Mikhail, how do I credit you? In the TikTok description and YouTube, right? Mikhail says, yes, you can just do @ without the tag or the username without @. Mikhail, you are a liar. Caught in 4K. What absolute BS are you cooking up? Dude, what in the delulu? Zayan says, this guy is adding more fees, making up random prices when I have everything in screenshots of what I paid and what price they gave me. This is insane. I know it's effing stupid now, but I was so excited for Ramadan and wanted to work on so much content and only got 10% of that thanks to that scammer. While they got verified on VGen, used my stolen money to commission my friend, then hang out with my friends as though nothing happened. Then we have the other person, the artist Bomb, also on April 1st, dropping this doc, writing, I'm so sick of this individual not taking any accountability and continuously lying. Please take your time to read both my document and Zayan to understand everything that is going on. We are all tired and want this over with. So Bomb writes, this document has been created to clear up the misinformation Mikhail Misfit is trying to spread about my friend Zayan. Zayan is tired and just wants his money back, which at this point we have accepted won't ever happen. My own situation with Mikhail will be documented later down. I would like to clarify all the lies he has made so far with his document. So this again, beginning portion is about Zayan. So 1, the PayPal case. The case has been closed in favor of the seller as per these screenshots. I mean, we saw Zayan's screenshots. I'm not sure why Mikhail's screenshot looks different, but as you can see here, it's closed. One thing to also note is that I was in a call with Zayan when we sent the dispute to PayPal. We broke down every single category of missing work, which adds up to 253 euros. We only included the prices of what is missing per the calculations in this tab. So this was the tab that was provided, right, where this is February 28th, 2025. Mikhail himself wrote this, writing, each highlight plus full sub, extra fee, 50 euros. Bundle of 12 clips, 9 euros each for a total of 85 euros. Reddit videos, 15 euros. 12 5-minute videos, 10 euros each. Discounted to a price of 10 for 12 for a total of 100 euros. So the 2 VODs will be 100 euros, 12 clips will be 85 euros, 2 Reddit videos, 30 euros, and 12 5-minute videos, 100 euros, for a total of 315 euros. So Bomb writes, we did not include the tips that Zayan has offered as that would make the total 333 euros. All calculations were made on what was not delivered, yet for some reason on his own screenshot it is showing as 315 euros. Granted, I may not understand PayPal too much as I have not filed a dispute myself ever, but it's worth noting anyways. 2. Death threats. If you receive death threats, please name and shame these people as they are not welcome in anyone's community. The examples you have provided are not death threats. We have told many people to not send hate your way as we want to resolve this. Please show us who these people are so we can ban them from our communities. Yeah guys, apparently telling somebody you're not cash money is a death threat now. The TOS situation. You as an artist told Zayan not to go through VGen to save you on fees. VGen has the TOS you must accept before putting in a request. The request was done through Discord where no TOS was sent and you refused to send it. It is your job to send a TOS to any new clients to know what they're getting into, especially when your TOS is so convoluted, confusing, and contradicting, as well as one of your big rules being no refunds. It is worth noting as well, please see the below examples of how confusing the TOS is. I will also be commenting on some of these TOS rules as somebody who has been doing comms for 3 years now. So It says no deadlines, unless it's strictly necessary, in which case a rush fee will be requested based on the commission. By the way, I just want to add, it feels like a breath of fresh air after reading Mikhail's doc to go back to a doc where somebody actually makes sense. The big one, the orange, right, is Mikhail's card, but the dark background is VGen. So on VGen, it reads, rush fee applies to clients who want videos within a specific time frame. I am first come first serve with rush orders. No rush fee. I will not give myself a time limit. I will try to provide your work quickly, but please do not assume any time frame if not given. I should be notified of any deadlines. If this information is not given, the waiting time expected starts from 2 weeks. This may change based on the queue. Will take as much time as I need to fulfill the commission and will not rush the work. Bomb writes, these screenshots are all from the TOS on VGen and card. You as an artist should not say you have no deadlines. You're offering a service, your client has the right to know when it will be done. You also say no rush fee, but then you say a rush fee will be calculated? Yeah, agreed. No deadlines is bullshit. What? Because then you can scam, right? And if you take longer than 6 months and people can't charge back within PayPal, process and delivery. Please communicate with me if you'd like updates. Bomb writes, this is very unprofessional. You as an artist should be supplying updates. It's not up to a client to ask you to communicate. By the way, I will add with this, I do just think, like looking again at the TOS, it really just shows that Mikhail has a strong lack of understanding of how freelance services work. You as the service provider, like initiate everything. It feels like Mikhail thinks the ball is in the client's court for everything. That's not how that works. General, there will be no refunds unless for particular reasons I am unable to provide the service. Reserve the right to cancel the order at any time for a reason, within reason, providing a refund. For you to say you will provide a refund if you're not able to provide a service, but then are called out for not providing the work due to your unprofessionalism is what can get you blacklisted as an artist or editor taking comms. Even I, with a no refund rule, will provide a refund if it gets to the situation and I have not started the work, which you did not. Your TOS has no grounds to stand on when the commission was done. You went to Xeon offering your services with no link to TOS, advertising them from your VGen, which auto-shows TOS. I assume this was done to not show how unprofessional your TOS is, with the no refunds rule included, which can be seen as disingenuous. You are entering a contract with a client. They are entitled to know all the rules of working with you. I know many artists who offer their TOS for new clients to make sure they know. It is worth noting your TOS actually becomes null and void legally if you take payment from a client without showing them your TOS first. This is why the TOS on VGen must be accepted as read before you pay. It is also very important to note, Mikhail and Zan were still friends at this point, so it was all quite lax in terms of contract. For him to then turn around with such a big revelation of no refunds in his TOS and continue to point back to his TOS like it's the gospel is very predatory, making it seem like he only became friends with Zan to get him to work. He was quite literally begging Zan to let him edit for him. Now, lying to PayPal, incorrect calculations, and we've read the calculations as well. And then we've also read about why he lied to PayPal, where he lied to PayPal stating that the discount was going to be removed and that there was a now not properly tagging fee, which remember, we saw Zan's screenshot later where Mikhail out of his own mouth said the @/tag was okay. And Bomb writes, you cannot take back money deducted as a bundle discount to cover refund fees. That is the scummiest thing you can do and the worst business practice you can follow. It is very vindictive and you will get a lot of slack for doing this. Here are the correct calculations of everything missing. So here you can see 8 clips, €7 each, 56. 8 videos, €8 each, 64. 1 unfinished VOD, €50, not counting the one that was almost done, and 2 unfinished Reddit VODs, €30. Total €250 of unfinished work, €200 if you don't count that one VOD, I guess the one that's like in progress. Mikhail confirmed the amount Xeon owed is €50 due to cutting ties, fees, no credit fee, and adding money that he should have never discounted. All calculations are made on the price Mikhail offered in the above screenshot. Please note Mikhail said bundle of 12 clips is €85, price of 10 for 12, each being 9. This calculation is incorrect as 10 for €9 each is €90. The missing clips calculated above was calculated as 85 divided by 12, which brings it to €7 each to accommodate the bundle price given. Mikhail states only 6 clips are missing. This is incorrect. 8 clips have not been made. Same with the short videos. He stated 4 are uncompleted, but a total of 8 are unfinished. Xeon and his team never agreed on a VOD at the time this was all going down, as part of the 2 VODs included. This info was never brought to their attention. A VOD was never confirmed for Mikhail to work on, so he decided to randomly take one VOD without agreement from Xeon to conveniently work on, to not deduct from the refund. He is also missing 2 Reddit videos, which he completely missed out in his payment dispute. It is also worth noting Mikhail, within the PayPal dispute, added a physical tracking number to a digital service. How do you also add cutting ties fees to the equation of what is entitled in the refund? I have never seen this kind of fee attached. You also cannot add a not crediting fee when you were credited correctly, as you have discussed with Zan. The entire PayPal dispute was updated with fraudulent information from Mikhail's side, yet somehow he has won the case. By the way, from my understanding, I think you can dispute the dispute, I hope anyways. Point 5, where I come in. So this is now bomb. Across this entire situation, I have not been as mad as I have been at myself, as I have realized. Mikhail has literally commissioned me for art with Zan's stolen money. So here, Mikhail commissioned heart headshot illustration. It looked like it was commissioned 4 times, as he had paid me a lot of money that has gone into my bills, and I am just starting a new job and have struggled with money being unemployed. I was unable to refund them this amount. And being honest, I did not want to refund them this anyways, as they had won the PayPal dispute with lies and did not want them getting even more money back. I had reached out to Mikhail to let him know I am working on his comms to get him out of my life. You can view the below screenshot of his reply. The audacity to say, quote, especially as somebody who does art, who has policies you expect people to respect, end quote, and asking for a refund when I have a no refunds rule that they agreed to on VGen, where you have to tick that you read the TOS, is insanity. Very hypocritical to tell Zan he hadn't read your TOS when you have not read mine. Your TOS is there to catch your mistakes when they are convenient for you. For context on his last message, I have my own commission server to keep contact with all my clients. I have messaged him there as per his request, and he has still not answered me. So here, March 30th, Bomb is pinging Mikhail for a reply. Bomb is pinging Mikhail April 1st. And then here we read this screenshot with the forwarded message. 6. Zan's document. The following section is for a couple of my own thoughts in response to his doc. 1. You are not entitled to know when Zan makes the decision of taking a manager. You are an editor. The manager will not hinder your ability to do your job. For the discussion of more workload, as you've stated, if you were told to do more, you could have said no. 2. You did not need help when it came to editing. You are the sole editor. If you require more help, you could have asked or inquired to possibly get a second editor included in the team to drop your workload. You were always offered help when asked, as per Zan's screenshots in his original document. VOD scrubbing was very much your job, as you have stated per Zan's screenshot. Do not try to take this back and make it look like you were overworked. When timestamps were needed, they were provided. You simply did not know the difference between timestamps, upload dates, and time zones. You would use these synonymously and then get upset when the team did not understand you. If only your stream highlights is what included this, you should have made this known instead of letting it simmer to use against him. Here, again, Zan's offering to chop the VOD, and here Mikhail declines it. 4. Deadlines were not daily. It was suggested as a date you kept asking for deadlines that your own TOS says you don't ask for, and somehow you were still behind on the discussed deadline. So here, redacted person suggests a timeline, and Zan, for posting, there's 1 video a day. Zan says, Misfit, are these good? Mikhail says, I hope so. Shorts and the 5 minutes shouldn't be a problem. I'll try to get those today and tomorrow. And Mikhail provided a content list where you can see 3 shorts a week, 3 5-minute videos a week, twice a month for the 10-minute videos, and twice a month for the stream highlights. 5. If the client is asking for more revisions than you provide, you are meant to notify them that any after a certain point will come at a charge. You need to set your own boundaries so you don't overwork, but you decided to not say anything. 6. Zan did indeed watch the entire videos, hence why he would ask for revisions and changes. Also, in regards to subtitle mistakes, that's up to you to catch as the editor. You were told by Zan about spelling mistakes, yet you still kept it in the video. And here Zan says, I love it. It's created characters, by the way, not creative. Please note as well, Mikhail noted he was not told what to do, was just given a video style to replicate. This is an example of the many times Zan has offered to help. You can see another example of Zan helping here. And here you can see Zan writes, bullet point, if possible, could we show Werner more as we talk smack about him, like maybe 2 seconds of looking at his face with a smug look. If possible, let's show him twice or more than twice, so people can know this guy is getting the slap. There's kind of no context as to why I want to slap him. If you could show his face during the dialogue or where he says, that makes him annoying after the flashback. Mikhail is waffling, bro, because this is very clear. Like, maybe I can understand a little bit of frustration as the editor if your client is super vague, like, can you make him look more annoying? Okay, now you're gonna be like, well, I'll do my creative interpretation. It's my job as the editor, but would help for more clarity. This is very clear. Like, Zan is specifically asking 2 seconds or more, show his face. You got a recipe handed in front of you. 7. CapCut does not use Gen AI. This was offered to help speed up your editing process as you were complaining you have too much work and it takes too much time, as well as you losing sleep. Quote, but to be mad I refuse to use an AI tool to be faster is beyond disrespectful, end quote. Be so for real, what's the point of that comment? I think the reason Mikhail did not want to go through with the commission of VGen, aside from not getting the fees, is because VGen commissions are binding contracts. As I have confirmed with VGen support, I would very much recommend you read Zan's document. It has all the screenshots and detailed breakdowns of what went wrong with Mikhail. He will not be getting a refund from me if he even decides to stop ghosting me. I have received full approval from VGen, so he either gets the art or nothing. Mikhail, have some decency to understand the situation all stems from you being completely unprofessional to Zayan and his team. This is very much a situation where Zayan wanted to resolve this to not ruin their friendship, but Mikhail instead felt attacked. Have some decency to look at all the screenshots provided in his document, as it's very clear you have not. It is all there. You are not taking any accountability for how you have acted. You cannot be doing this, scamming people out of money, and then opening up emergency comms. Whether you intentionally or unintentionally have done this, it is literally a scam no matter how you look at it. The document Zayan created was made to show the timeline of what led to the situation. It was in no way made to air out dirty laundry, but to show that despite the disagreement, Mikhail decided to not refund in the end and get it over with and done. So here is proof of Zayan helping out. So Zayan is suggesting text to add. Mikhail made a change about the slap, and Zayan suggested, oh, change the music when it's a different topic so people understand it's a different topic. And instead of sliding for the last topic, let's do the same for the Hello Kitty swooshing, giving suggestions. Mikhail says music swoosh and find again the other clip. Okay. So Zayan provides the timestamp for the clip and then, explains what's in the clip. Mikhail says, yeah, I have to find it, but I have class in I don't know, actually F it. I need to check the calendar. That's why I effing turned the PC on again. But no, I opened Moravi, Minecraft, and Discord. Zayan says, okay, just keeping timestamps. At 1:59, I start singing Timber, and Homie and I get into it about that song. Zayan's like, wait, are you sure you don't have school? You can zoom in on Homie saying, oh, it starts at 2. Mikhail says, ... I do have class at 11:30 a.m. So I gotta be up at 10:30 something. And then Zayan says, if you could add up the outro, like a comment, like, or subscribe, or a black screen works too. And Mikhail says 2 hours is the timestamp. And then Zayan says, yep. So here for a VOD, Zayan adds a big list of bullet points of options to showcase. I mean, to me, this is really straightforward, right? It's a 40-minute VOD. There's 10, 12 bullet points here. Each bullet point is probably 5 minutes of the VOD max, right? 2 minutes, 5 minutes. You put the VOD on 2x speed, you clip all of them together, 12 clips out of one VOD, you're done for the month. So here, Zayan, again, for another video, the 5-minute video, states, oh, hey, Mikhail, the 5-minute video I believe can be greater than this, just so we don't miss the opportunity on some jokes. So here's some stuff we can adjust. Intro's perfect, well done, loved it. With the regifting, we can cut the part where I read twice. So, adding some critiques. Mikhail says, the amount of shit I have to add is insane. A lot of the sounds and whatever fits, but the Raven sees the future can't be done. And there are no other clips. There's also a clip in the folder. If you don't like it, just delete it from there so it frees up space. What? That's weird. That list that Zayan provided is normal, you look over the video, your client asks for suggestions and changes, you make the changes, right? Again, if you don't want revisions or you have a limit on revisions, then say that. Be only 3 revisions or something, But also understand that when you start working with a new client, you're going to have a bunch of revisions you have to do so that you and the client end up on the same page. And then over time, you will understand your client's vision, and then you're going to basically know what they want, so you don't need to make this many changes anymore. With me and my editor, we started off with TikTok videos, and then now my editor edits all my YouTube videos. When we made the TikToks, in the beginning, I had a bunch of stuff to ask, can you change this? Can you do that? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then now I don't critique anything really. It all looks great to me, so I'm perfect. Then occasionally, if it's a sponsored video, I might have 1 or 2 things to ask. Same thing with when he started editing my YouTube videos, I had a couple things to ask, be can you do this? Can you do that? And then once he got my vision, I don't have anything else to ask for. Rarely do I go through a video and be can you change this? It all looks great to me. It's going to be a little bit of a working process. You have a client that's going to be a long-term client. Not anymore, but that was the plan. There's going to be some kinks to iron out in the beginning. But if you start being salty, being the amount of shit I have to add is insane, that is so unprofessional. And yeah, Bomb writes that too. There are plenty of ways to rephrase this. This all goes back to him saying he needs copy and paste to make sure he doesn't sound offensive. So back to the thread, Bomb writes, Zayan just wants his money back. I want him out of my life so we can move on with our lives. For somebody to make a whole thread and say this is all petty drama when it's literally about stolen money for unfinished work. I'm literally the last person to make a call-out post, but he is literally ghosting me and Zayan. We cannot get anything from him. I am all for getting stuff sorted privately, but how do you privately solve something when the other side refuses to talk to you? Even after he released his document, he has not contacted any of us. And then, Mikhail, April 6th, opens up giveaways. Writing VGen giveaway, get the chance to win a €50 commission from an artist of your choice or a €50 discount for my services. Iman Well writes, I think you should probably respect artists before mentioning an artist's name. Stop ghosting your artists. Then Mikhail on April 9th makes a post of making it to VGen's artist verification debut. Oh, complete side note, but I'm on VGen and I'm verified. So I'll have my VGen link down below if you want to grab some stuff from there. Now, we are on April 13th, which it was April 13th, yesterday. And Bomb writes, just a commission update. My VGen account has been restricted due to a client ghosting me for 3 of their commissions. The client is in regards to the document I made a few days ago and is not entitled to a refund, so I'm waiting for VGen to clear these requests for me. When my VGen is restricted, and I'm not able to take commissions because his commissions are over the deadline and he's ghosting me. He's living like it's normal and taking more commissions himself. I'm so tired. And Ambi writes, does VGen give a penalty for canceling a commission? I suggest putting within your TOS if the client doesn't respond in X days, the commission will be canceled. So this could be avoided for the next time, which hopefully won't happen, but just to be safe. Bomb says there's no option to cancel without a refund unless you contact support, so I've just been waiting. Mikhail writes, this, by the way, all of this is going to happen on April 13th. Mikhail writes, listening to somebody who uses AI tools and wants others to use them to be better and faster is the last thing I want to do on this lovely Sunday afternoon. Same goes to those who support them. Have a lovely Sunday. And Bomb responds, I'd really appreciate if you stop ghosting me in my own commission Discord and get this chaos sorted out. And Zan says, you know good and well that I offered you CapCut because of how much you complain about subtitles. It's not generative AI BS, it's captioning. Now you're trying to say that I use Gen AI and Bomb supports it. You're such a liar. And then about the PayPal, Zan posts, I just got a response from PayPal. Quote, we don't take screenshots as evidence, end quote. They need an email or something of that nature, but that's super convenient for Mikhail. I'm still talking to them and I hope they consider the documents as evidence. Then about the AI, Bomb writes, and in a quote retweet, keep spreading lies while you ghost us. Grow up and learn to face people like an adult. Every one of my followers knows how much I despise AI. For you to sit there and twist the narrative to make it sound like we support AI is disgusting. He's on about CapCut's auto caption and subtitle feature. I will never support AI. Referring to Gen AI. Every chance I get, I talk about hating it. Maybe instead of subtweeting like the coward you are, stop ghosting us and message directly. And Zan, in the quote retweet, writes, the level of delusion I wish to live in is actually insane. Give me my money back, you effing scammer. AI tools, he's referring to the CapCut auto captions, by the way. Then Bomb writes, I am trying my hardest to stay professional, but this person is literally trying to ruin my business I've taken so long to build with my art. I am literally losing potential clients who want to commission me because he single-handedly force-closed my VGen account. If anything seems heated from myself from here on out, it's purely down to the fact of how tired I am of his behavior and actions. I want him out of my goddamn life. He could be doing this with so many people. Have some accountability. VGen, if anyone sees this, I would massively appreciate some help as I cannot let my account stay restricted. And then they link the doc. Zan writes, I'm trying to get in touch with PayPal again. Hopefully they'll refund the money back after seeing the evidence debunking his lies. Bomb adds, and this is same day, just a little bit later. So it gets worse. He instantly declined the request to change the deadline to get them out of my queue. He 100% knows what he's doing and he's literally being malicious and wants my VGen account to shut down. We can see Mikhail Misfit has declined a request to update their commission's guaranteed delivery date. Please do your best to meet your originally agreed upon delivery date of April 12, 2025. Gentle reminder that if this date passes, your client will be entitled to a full refund should they ask for one. No word from VGen as of yet. I understand I need to be patient, but I am a bundle of anxiety right now. Then Zan adds he changed his profile photo to this. Nah, he thinks it's all a joke. This is wild. And it's the meme of like the kid staring at the camera, like the 6-year-old kid with the house on fire, but they edited it to be their face instead. And then Mikhail writes, since Twitter has a character limit here, I will stand true to myself, and I have said everything I need to say here. You all seem to love finding a reason to send me threats. By all means, go ahead. You aren't proving any points. You're not Cash Money is not a threat. I also do want to point out, I've actually never seen this before, but this post has 0 likes and 37 comments. Normally, when I see somebody get giga ratioed by the comments, right, they at least have like some likes. This one has 0. But Mikhail writes, my only statement on this matter and to the continuation of the harassment since my Discord was already doxxed last time. I do not expect my commission and I have never expected it after the last contact with the artist. I do not expect him to work on it nor put the care on the work. Hence, as I've stated before to him, I do not even care if it's never delivered. I do not expect a refund despite what the artist keeps going on about. Those were nobody's stolen money. And I will not act like others by forcing a refund through PayPal. I do not care. To those that are so interested in this drama, please stop sending me life-ending threats. You are very mature in doing so, and as it has happened with the previous ones, I am unaffected. Lucky for you, I will not just end myself for not being comfortable working with somebody who is still defending a person who uses AI tools and preferred them over human work because they were faster. This is why I do not trust this artist in person. I do not wish to interact with somebody who calls himself an artist, is against AI artists, but also defends somebody who uses AI tools. By the way, they changed their Discord profile to that profile too. And they got ratioed in the commissions. Zayan comments, "This is not a game, grow the F up. You're hurting other people's images and their livelihood." And Liger0 writes, "FYI, I would look up tortious interference. You know that failing to reply is holding their business hostage. If they wanted to, they could easily take you to court for it." Then Zayan quote retweets writing, "You think this is funny? You think painting me as somebody who uses Gen AI and Bomb as an artist that supports it is funny? You think scamming me out of my hard-earned money is funny? You think stopping Bomb's income is funny? Are you insane?" And Bomb writes, "Okay, so you don't want the commissions, but you're declining my request to move the deadlines to sort it with VGen and holding my VGen account hostage. Also, F out of here, I do not support AI. Auto-captioning is the same as speech-to-text. Get off your moral high horse." And in Bomb's document, they put an update also on April 13th, talking about their VGen account being restricted, and they indicate that the last message they received from Mikhail was on March 30th, and that instead of responding, he's been subtweeting. He was asked if he'd like CapCut to use the auto subtitle feature, yet here he is trying to paint a false narrative that me and Zayan support Gen AI. All of my followers know how much I despise AI, and sometimes won't even accept a commission if AI is in the references. He has also gone on his Twitch to say we have apparently doxed him, which is completely insane. We do not know his real name, we do not know where he lives. The only thing we know is what he looks like, as we all used to have our cams on in our mutual server. Not only is he still spreading misinformation, he is quite literally holding my VGen hostage. So here we can see the commissions. Commissions is one of my main forms of income. I have a second part-time job but do not make anywhere near enough to help me pay bills with it. Mikhail is quite literally ruining my livelihood because 1. I cannot take any more VGen requests. 2. Being restricted removes you from the VGen discoverability. A lot of my traction and clients come from VGen. I've had to let everyone know who is going to my ping list that the only reason my comms are closed is because of a single person. I'm currently waiting for VGen to get back in contact with me, but the more days that pass by, the more potential clients I'll lose because of this person. VGen could also potentially say they have to get info from Mikhail that he no longer wants the art, which could take even more time, as he may end up ghosting them too. Me and Zayan were finally accepting he's finally out of our hair, granted with Zayan still not receiving the apparent 50 euros that he was owed after all the BS fees Mikhail was taking away, instead choosing to host a VGen giveaway with this money. I am tired. Zayan is tired. We want this person out of our lives. We live in fear he'll randomly charge back his comms because he's proven to win PayPal disputes with completely fraudulent information. He's streaming, taking more commissions, hosting money giveaways like nothing is happening. I beg anyone who sees this to steer clear of Mikhail with a 10-foot pole. He is very kind and nice, but the second you fairly criticize his behavior, he will ruin everything for you, while taking no accountability and gaslighting you to believe you are the issue. It is not worth the stress and emotions me and Zayan have been through, let alone everyone around us seeing how much it is affecting us. I am sorry for how heated I may seem throughout all of this, but I have so much stress outside of this going on, and there is only so much anxiety I can take at once. If I have said anything that may seem out of line, please let me know via a DM, as I wish to be held accountable as an online content creator." But then we have this. So this is posted by Twitter user NanashiKnightVT, writing, and in quote retweet to Mikhail's post, "Boo effing who? Aren't you the same person who traced over emotes and claimed you drew them and sold them on VGen? Or drew over somebody's art and used that to try to sell your own commissions too? And you're the one worried about somebody using CapCut?" So here we have an emote. This looks to be an emote base, and then their redraw of the base. And then here we have a art piece, and then another base. And Kitsunuro VT says, "I don't know about the second example, but the first example seems to be out of an emote pack that the artist allows people to use the base and sell emotes with as long as credit is given." Which, I don't know if that was the case. I don't know who this person is to begin with. Either way, if this is over CapCut, that's pretty petty. And Nanashi says they don't give credit anywhere. Not on their card, Twitch, anywhere. They only credit themselves. And Kitsu says, yikes. And Nanashi adds, even on their VGen, the emotes are supposedly made from scratch. Kitsu says, man, why not just admit that a base is being used, especially when the creator allows it? It's so dumb. And then Nanashi says, yeah, and it gets even worse when you read their TOS on top of everything. Like, my guy. So here, their commission says the commissioner is allowed to post the commission work as long as they give proper credit. Post has to contain a watermark. By the way, guys, complete irrelevant point. Can we ban, like, middle aligning text for body text? So here, credits must always be given by using @MikhailMisfit VT or MikhailMisfit. Tag isn't necessary, but do mention my name. Okay, wait, so you do say the tag isn't necessary. So an @/MikhailMisfits would be an okay tag. Don't trace, copy, steal, or remove my watermark over my artworks. So that concludes that. Currently, as of now, we don't have an update. This is filmed in the wee hours of April 15th. If an update does come out, I will update you guys in the comment section of this video or like in the description box. But this is absolutely wild. And thank you guys for tagging me. I got tagged in this like a bunch of times, so I'm finally piling all of the information. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Like, It initially seemed like just two people that were very incompatible to work together, and then it slowly spiraled into misfits being more and more and more delulu as time was going on. Crazy stuff. I'm curious about your thoughts down below on this whole scenario and about the points that I've previously mentioned throughout this video, you know, about the no refunds thing and some of the other stuff. This recording, I don't know how long the actual video will be, but the recording is 2 hours and like 45 minutes. So it's a long recording, guys. So anyways, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. I do have a VGen now. Check me out there, right? I also have a coffee with free resources for streamers and content creators, so you can see me there as well. And I also stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So I hope to catch you guys there or in another one of my videos.